Of 42 tonight. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 3:02. Several companies are investing billions of dollars worth of electric vehicle production into the Hoosier state. Governor Eric Holcomb tells Inside Indiana Business he hears the criticisms of electric vehicles, but doesn't agree.
I would say, not to be derogatory, but you're kind of living in a fantasy world if you don't think the market is responding to demand.
Stellantis and Samsung have committed to building a $2.5 billion EV battery plant in Kokomo. Indy Metro Police say one person is dead after a shooting near a trailer park on Nightsong Drive on the southwest side near Lyndhurst Drive and Troy Avenue. Police haven't ID'd the victim or said what led to the shooting. It's the 200th confirmed homicide this year. There was a fire on Indy's southeast side at the Emerson Village Lake Apartments near the intersection of Emerson Avenue and Shelbyville Road around 4:15 this morning.
IFB got there shortly after and found heavy fire pushing from the roof area of the building. We had evacuation was in progress, and so we had about 20 people evacuate that are now displaced.
Meaning they don't have a place to stay, says Indianapolis Fire Department Battalion Chief Rita Reith. One firefighter was injured but is supposed to be okay. They're trying to figure out what caused the fire. One man went on the run for 8 years but still could not escape the law. Parker Carlson reports on the man now behind bars.
Jody Trapt worked as a bookkeeper for the Shelton Machinery and Fishers, and over the course of 2 years, he funneled over $2 million from the company to his bank account. Just before his hearing in 2013, he disappeared. 8 years later, U.S. deputy marshals found Trapt living in Utah, hiding under a different name. Those marshals brought him back here to face the charges in his original trial, and Trapt pled guilty and was sentenced to 7.5 years in prison, along with paying $2.5 million back to the victims of his embezzlement. Parker Carlson, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
This week is Winter Weather Preparedness Week, says the National Weather Service.
Here we are. It's getting to be almost the middle of November. Thanksgiving's around the corner. We have some colder weather coming up in our forecast.
Alex McGinnis with the National Weather Service in Indianapolis says keep your car stocked up with things to keep you warm and don't let your gas tank get too low. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 3:04.
Did you know 96% of Americans lose an average of $111,000 in Social Security income? It's true. 96% of Americans lose an average of $111,000 in Social Security income. And it's all because they claim their benefits at the wrong time. Learn how you could avoid this with a free, customized Social Security analysis from Bill Demery, your retirement guy. If you've saved at least $200,000 for retirement and have not filed for Social Security, schedule your free analysis now by calling 317-972-9172. Don't lose tens of thousands of dollars in Social Security income that's rightfully yours. Schedule your free analysis now by calling 317-972-9172. 317-972-9172.
With traffic at 3:05, here's Dan Levy.
As we take a look at the area, roadway 69 southbound and 465. The exit ramp is partially blocked with a pretty bad accident. Traffic is stop and go from 96. And at Gas League, this one's on the south side, Thompson and Harding Street. This report is sponsored by Auto Sales and Service. Come to Auto Sales and Service and drive home in a vehicle with no credit required. They've been helping people find a new ride in Indy for 35 years. Stop by their 2 Indianapolis locations. I'm Dan Levy. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Great day today. Comfortable. Highs low 60s with a mostly sunny sky. Lows tonight bottom out in the low 40s, and we're in store for a nicer day Wednesday. Highs nearing 70 with a mix of sun and clouds. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 Stephanie Meade for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Harrison Silcox. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hammer and Nigel.
Can you believe these characters are weirdos?
On 93 WIBC.
So let's rock it!
All right, Hammer, time to tap that keg. Woo! Get the wings out. Let's go! Put some seasoning on those puppies, shove them on the grill, because it's here. It's midterm day. Let's do some midterm stuff.
Polling. Debates. Fetterman.
The Eagles are so much better than the Eagles.
Midterm stuff. Big Nige, now until midnight tonight, we have got coverage for you local races, national races, and nobody does it better than 93 WIBC. Our newsroom's going to be involved. Abdul's going to be involved. And, of course, we are driving this boat until 7 o'clock. We got some seats on the line today. Now, you voted early. You went to Zionsville the other night.
Yeah?
I voted this morning. Now, it was early. It was around 7 o'clock. So I got the kids up to get in the shower, so they could go to school. And while they were doing that, I went out and voted.
Wait, did the boy vote?
He did.
Your 18-year-old vote.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Got
First
in,
experience.
got out, first timer. He was excited.
Right on.
Man, there was no line. Now, I went super early, so maybe that has something to do with it. But I got right in. Boom goes the dynamite. I was out in 10 minutes.
Yeah, it took me. There was no line for me when I early voted last Thursday. I was listening to Tony's show earlier. He said he probably had to wait maybe 20 or 30 minutes. We'll ask him later when Tony comes on the show at about 5:30 for Tuesdays with Tony.
I put out on social media, how was your voting experience? And for the most part, everybody was pretty much in and out. Our pal Missy said, I just voted in Cicero, no line, walked right in, got right out.
Was I expecting too much? Like, okay, I'm thinking back to 2016 for the presidential election. And I waited probably an hour up there at the town hall upstairs. They had an upstairs area. I waited for a pretty long time. That was a presidential election.
Right.
Was I, just because I know of all the chaos and excitement throughout the country of some of these high profile races, was I expecting too much in terms of how people are deciding to get out and vote here in Indiana, because there's not a lot of high profile races going on? I know we've talked a lot about the Secretary of State. I know we've talked about Marion County Prosecutor. But this state is really on nobody's radar in terms of, like Georgia, Pennsylvania.
It's not a swing state.
Right.
Correct.
Right. So maybe my expectations were a little higher than they needed to be in terms of like how many people, how long I was going to have to wait. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Well, Michael tweets at us at Hammer and Nigel, 2-hour wait in Brownsburg.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, there you go.
So if you're in Brownsburg, let us know if that's the case or not. That was a tweet to us about 30 minutes ago. Randy, about 20-minute wait in Avon. Mark, far southeast side, good turnout. Line moved well, no problems. And again, statewide, it's kind of expected that Todd Young is going to maintain his Senate seat. Jim Banks is going to crush, absolutely embarrass and humiliate that Gary Snyder troll. That's going to be one of the biggest blowouts in the country. He's going to keep his House seat. Andre Carson expected to also cruise in keeping his House seat. But in northern Indiana, in terms of sending someone to Washington, D.C., Jennifer Ruth Green has got a great chance of pulling the upset against Frank Mervan, and this has been a nasty one.
And it's been ugly because her opponent had some private medical records that he had released, quote-unquote, leaked illegally from her time in the military. That was the story from Politico that Adam Wren published, also some private stuff that she begged not to have out there in terms of her medical records. And that is one race that's been getting a little bit of national attention right there, because and it'll be the first time an African-American Republican woman will be in the House of Representatives if she wins.
If she wins, she'll be the only one.
The only one.
Meanwhile, here in Indianapolis, in Marion County, I think all eyes are on the prosecutor race. It's going to come down to whether or not you think what's happening in Indianapolis right now is okay. If you think it's okay, then vote for the incumbent, Ryan Mears. But if you think 3 straight years of over 200 homicides is unacceptable, which coincidentally all goes into the timeline of Ryan Mears' time in office, then vote for Cindy Carrasco. We had Cindy on our program yesterday, and I thought it was really interesting, Nigel. We asked her, what's been the response when you go to the black communities, the communities in Indianapolis that are usually pretty Democrat? What's been the feedback you've received? And ultimately, it came back as crime isn't political. Voters in Indianapolis, people that live in these high crime areas, they don't care if you have an R or a D next to your name. They don't want the same criminals getting back out on the streets. So I do think Cindy has a puncher's chance tonight. The odds are stacked against her. She needs amazing voter turnout. will have coverage all night long.
Well, I think she's had some help from the FOP getting that endorsement from the police officers union.
That was big.
That was huge. And you've talked to certain Democrat business owners around the city that said, yeah, they're scratching for Cindy.
Right. Their
sure.
Democrat voters, don't get it twisted, but they're making the exception in the prosecutor's case. And I think you're going to see quite a bit of that. Is it going to be enough? That's going to be the question. But remember this. If you're on the fence still, and you still have less than 3 hours to go vote, if you're on the fence about what to do, remember when we had Jeff Blackwell in our studio. He is the father of one of the young ladies, Samaria, that lost her life in the FedEx massacre. Something that Ryan Mears completely dropped the ball on. He ignored the red flag case. It just sat on his desk, and he did nothing. And this massacre took place. And then afterwards, the way that he treated these families with the cold shoulder, I want you to remember that if you have not voted yet.
I had the president acknowledge it and come to us. We had the governor, everybody on through, but one person hasn't basically acknowledged this. He was supposed to have a sit down with all the families at once.
The prosecutor, the current prosecutor.
Correct. That has never happened.
Do you feel like the prosecutor brushed you off?
I don't think there's much of an open door policy there.
This story that was national news, this FedEx shooting, everybody, it seemed like from the state of Indiana and even national levels, had reached out to family members, offered condolences, went out of their way to show some level of support of some kind, except for the guy that's currently the prosecutor in Marion County. Do I have this accurate?
You have that accurate, and it's even more important. The one guy that didn't reach out was the only guy in all those other people that had any chance in any way to affect the outcome that would have never happened. Think about that for a moment.
So again, if you have not voted, please consider that as you make your way to the poll. Now let's turn our attention nationally here, Nige. What's the one race that you are fascinated with?
I could tell you the one race that nobody's paying attention to that I really keep an eye on is over in Oregon. That's got my eyebrow raised a little bit. There hasn't been a Republican mayor there for decades, 40 years probably, and it's a nail-biter. It's neck and neck between the Democrat, I think it's Tina Kotek, who was the Oregon House Speaker, and then she's challenged by a Republican minority in the House, Christine Drazen. And then there's another lady, an unaffiliated candidate that could throw a monkey wrench in the whole thing. Her name's Betsy Johnson. I mean, if something happens in Oregon, that's why Joe Biden was there earlier this week, because the race is essentially tied between the Democrat and the Republican. So
you see some of the things happening nationwide right now. You've got the founder of Nike, Phil Knight, in Oregon, stumping for a Republican. You've got Katy Perry posting on social media she's voting for a Republican. It's in a local race in Los Angeles.
Well, it's the mayor's race, and it's that guy Caruso's been flip-flopping back and forth for years, Republican and Democrat. But yeah, it's very surprising. The Netflix CEO just announced his support for that guy Caruso that you're talking about in L.A. for sure. Yeah.
Now, I think the Senate's going to come down to 4 states. You're talking about Pennsylvania, Georgia, Nevada, and Arizona. And earlier today, in the key battleground state of Arizona, in Maricopa County, the biggest county, probably the biggest swing county in that swing state, they already had problems. There were reports that the voting machines, they were down. They were not working at 20% of the polling locations. Some of the ballots were not being read by the machine. This is the press conference that some of the election officials had in Arizona.
When everything is completed, then these ballots will be taken out securely and delivered by a bipartisan team, so Republican and Democrat, down to here at the Central Tabulation Center where they will be tabulated.
And while this is obviously not how the system was designed, this is a fail-safe that functions the exact same way as early voting, which you know we have been going through for the past 26 days.
So basically, at 20% of the polling locations in the key county in Arizona, they're going to treat it as if it's a mail-in ballot. And oh, by the way, guess who's in charge of election security in the state of Arizona? That would be Katie Hobbs, who's also running to be the governor of Arizona. All right, we have got a lot of stuff to get to. We've got Matt Baer, who's still out. So Alan Green. We have Alan Green.
I think it's Dan.
Dan Levy.
Base.
Dan.
You guys got the one and only.
Here.
Base is
the
here.
one and only. Gentlemen, right now on 69 southbound at 465, the exit ramp is partially blocked with a crash. Traffic is stop and go from 96 into that one, and also a gas leak at the intersection of Thompson Road and Harding, and also traffic is starting to build. 65 on the north end, southbound, State Road 47 to State Road 32. The support is sponsored by B Window. Don't miss the annual B Window Black Friday sale up to 52% discount plus manufacturer's rebates and no payments, no interest for 18 months. BWindow.com. I'm Dan Levy. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
I mean, you asked me which races do I find fascinating. I kind of gave you the ones that were going under the radar. Obviously, New York, the gubernatorial race there. Hochul, unelected Democrat Hochul versus Zeldin is one that I think should be on everybody's radar. I think it is. What do you
Interesting
think?
governor races in Michigan. Tudor Dixon against Gretchen Whitmer.
Yep.
Of course, in Arizona, you've got Carrie Lake against Katie Hobbs. But the Senate race, for me, it's Fetterneck and Dr. Oz. I don't like any one of these guys. I'm making it perfectly clear. But one is better than the other one. There was a great South Park episode that said, sometime you have to choose between a giant douche and a turd sandwich. And that's what we've got in the state of Pennsylvania. 61 at the American Standard Heating Weather Center. It's Election Day here on the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Tony Katz.
When you start going down this idea that people you disagree with aren't human, the rhetoric, the dehumanization leads to disaster. It leads to violence. It leads to bloodshed. The people who want to scream anybody they disagree with is a Nazi, that's the dehumanizing. That's a real issue. I think everyone needs a bourbon and needs to calm down.
Tony Katz, mornings 6 to 9 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Hubler has certified service and maintenance for the life of your vehicle. Get everyday value pricing on service and parts and schedule an appointment with ease at drivehubler.com.
Your home is your sanctuary. Get the peace of mind you deserve with a free estimate on a Generac automatic standby generator for your home from Generator Supercenter, the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. With expert installation and 24-hour monitoring, Generator Supercenter won't leave you in the dark. Financing is available. Take control of your power today with Generator Supercenter. Call 317-827-0808. Generator Supercenter of Indianapolis, 317-827-0808.
If you run a small business, you need the most from every investment. That's why Comcast Business gives you more. Like more innovation with our new gig speed Wi-Fi, plus unlimited data. More speed from the largest, fastest, reliable network for small businesses. And more savings, up to 60% a year with Comcast Business Mobile. All from the company that powers more businesses than any other provider. When you need more, you need Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Get started with internet and advanced security for just $40 per month for 12 months with no annual contract when you add mobile. Plus, ask how to get a $750 prepaid card with a qualifying gig bundle. Ends 1/1/2023. Restrictions apply. Actual speeds vary. Compare pricing of top carriers. Requires EcoBill and AutoPay. Comcast Business Internet required. New Comcast Business 100 megabits per second internet and security edge customers only. Equipment taxes and other fees extra and subject to change. Must add mobile within 90 days of internet install and keep services for 12 months for discount. Results vary. Not an endorsement.
Hammer and Nigel show here. I have an American Standard air conditioner, and I loved it. Worked like a charm this summer. One of those fantastic local independent dealers in Central Indy is
Marshall Mechanical Heating and Cooling in Franklin. In Johnson and the surrounding counties, you can call Eric Marshall and Mark Chester at your trusted American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, Marshall Mechanical Heating and Cooling. If you're tired of hearing the ads on how you get a free furnace with the purchase of an air conditioner, listen, they know that's a gimmick at Marshall. What they do is they give you an honest quote in Johnson and the surrounding counties, and make sure that furnace is running safe and efficiently this fall with furnace tune-up from Marshall Mechanical Heating and Cooling. Ask about how Marshall can help you with your indoor air quality. So if you're on the south side, call Marshall at 317-738-5940 or visit callthemarshallnow.com. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you. American Standard Heating and Air, built to a higher standard.
What you've heard about probiotics is probably wrong.
I eat yogurt, so I don't need to take a probiotic.
Probiotics? They don't really work.
It's time to learn the truth about probiotics from Align, the probiotic brand recommended by gastroenterologists 2 times more than any other probiotic brand. Align has probiotics to naturally help relieve occasional bloating, gas, and abdominal discomfort. Try Align for a month and see how great a healthy gut can feel at AlignProbiotics.com.
With inflation on the rise, you may be charging more to your credit card. But be careful. That increased debt can cause your credit score to suffer.
Don't get stuck with a low credit score and a mountain of high-interest credit card debt. Call Golden Oak Lending now.
Refinance with our low rates to wipe out your high-interest credit card debt and put extra cash in your pocket. Call 317-706-GOLD.
Golden Oak Lending cured my blues.
NMLS 114937.
Staples stores are a new world of possible with innovative tools for small business and remote workers and learners. Explore more at your local Staples store or staplesconnect.com.
Come into Bell Tire today. You'll get the lowest tire price, period. Get up to $200 off a set of 4 Goodyear tires. You'll also get a guy who will give you free lifetime flat repairs, tire rotations, and alignment checks. Get up to $200 off a set of 4 Goodyear tires. Plus more free services and more out of your tires and more for your money. It's how we make the lowest tire price feel even lower at Bell Tire. See store and belltire.com for details and offer expiration.
When the weather turns severe, turn to the WIBC Storm Desk. Presented by Technology Recyclers, certified electronics recycling. Visit tech-recyclers.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by B&W Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Drains, your American Standard air dealer.
You set them up and I'll knock them back, Lloyd. One by one.
We are gonna read Booze News, cause it's really fun.
Once it hits your lips, it's so good.
Nigel presents
Booze News, Booze News.
Yeah.
Time for Booze News. I've heard of this happening before. Someone called this pulling a Robert Downey Jr. In Arkansas this week, the CFO of Tyson Foods, a younger dude named John Tyson, arrested for intoxication and falling asleep in the wrong house.
Oh.
Didn't Robert Downey Jr. do that during his druggy days?
He did that.
Like a kid's bedroom, I think.
There was like an ESPN personality that did that too, like somewhere in the woods, and he got naked and passed out on somebody's couch.
Yeah, the radio guy, Rosillo.
Ryan Rosillo.
Is that his? So this guy, the CFO of Tyson Foods, found passed out in a college woman's dorm. She came home, called the police. Now, this guy's the son of the company's chairman, John Tyson, and he's the great-grandson of the founder, John W. Tyson. So there's quite the lineage there. I mean, Tyson Foods is a gigantic, billion-dollar company, for all I know.
I've got their chicken nuggets in my fridge at home right now.
I do, too. So now there was no comment made, but we did find this audio here. We found this audio of John's dad talking about the company's values on YouTube.
When I think about some of the cornerstones of Tyson Foods is our core values. We strive to be the best person in our community. It gives our folks permission to stay within those boundaries and yet still have judgment. And the core values are really a set of values that then give you flexibility to be yourself, to make your own set of decisions to help this great company.
I picked the wrong house.
You strive every day to try to do the right
All
thing.
them houses look alike.
It goes back to my granddad,
I was just sleeping.
and it's reflected today in today's company and leadership.
I thought it was my house.
That reminds me of a time, I think I told you, my buddy had recently moved to the complete opposite side of town, and then, after a night of drinking, he took a cab home to the place that he moved out of, and was pounding on the door, "Let me in!" It was 3 o'clock in the morning, the neighbor walked out and goes, "Hey, you a-hole, you moved." And my buddy just kind of turned around and goes, "Oh, yeah, that's right."
The neighbor had to remind him that he moved.
Because trust me, it would have been the exact same situation if he could have gotten in the house.
I mean, I guess if there's a silver lining for John Tyson here, thank God it wasn't the gun guy's house.
Right. Right.
We've got some more booze news, and James, I need some mood music. Dateline, Knoxville, Tennessee. As if watching that Tennessee-Georgia game wasn't painful enough for me, now they may be cutting off beer sales at the University of Tennessee football games.
Oh, wow.
Knoxville City Council recommending suspending the beer license for the vendor of Neyland Stadium, one of the largest stadiums in America.
Wow.
The complaint came after Aramark received 3 citations for selling booze to underage minor informants.
Okay.
Minor informants is the key word here. So they got little rat trolls running around, but their job is to buy beer. Like I told Chris, this is your job. Go get that job. You're a Tennessee fan. You're into government. You'll probably drink beer. This is a perfect gig for you, kid.
Do you want him to be a rat, though?
No. Documents show that 3 Aramark employees were cited for serving alcohol to underage kids at the games against Florida, Alabama, and Akron.
Yeah, I compare that. Like, I don't know if this really ever happened or not, but, the public, the health department here in the city, when COVID was going down, they'd send their little guys in their khakis and their clipboards, and they would go check off how many people were and were not wearing masks. And if the bartender told them to wear a mask, and then, they'd get cited. But that kind of reminds me of this type of thing here, except, this was, so the entire stadium, you wouldn't be able to get a beer in the entire stadium for a place that holds 100,000 people?
Right. And last time I checked, SEC fans like to drink.
Wow, you got to be careful, man.
So we'll see what happens. I have a funny feeling that money is going to talk and everything else is going to walk here. But, yeah, I don't think that's going to go down. All right, when we come back, that press conference last night, Jim Irsay, Jeff Saturday, a disgruntled Chris Ballard. We've got the audio highlights. If you missed it, it's the Hammer and Nigel show.
Hey, I've been on the Exercise Inc. program for years, and I love it, especially since I don't have a lot of time to spend in a traditional gym. Exercise Inc. is a once-a-week strength training program that lasts for 20 minutes. Now, 20 minutes might not sound like a lot, but let me tell you what Exercise Inc. has done for me. Not only does it save me a bunch of time getting the physical activity my body craves, but I've lost 20 pounds following my personal trainer's guidance on diet and eating habits. So not only am I getting one-on-one coaching inside the gym, but I'm getting help on what to do to stay active and live a healthier lifestyle outside the gym as well. I feel better, lost inches off my waist, had to buy new clothes, and I'm able to chase my kids up and down the stairs without getting winded. Call Exercise Inc. right now to find out more. 317-750-2219 or exerciseinc.com. There are locations all over town: Avon, Brownsburg, Greenwood, and Zionsville. Call Exercise Inc. Again, that number 750-2219, or visit exerciseinc.com and check out all the success stories. Change your life in 20 minutes a week with Exercise Inc.
Did you know the air you breathe in comes directly from your crawl space? Do you even know what's in your crawl space? Hi, I'm Adam Swain with Swainco Crawl Space and Basement Repair, Indy's most trusted, award-winning experts. A dry, healthy crawl space protects the health of your family and your greatest asset, your home. Transform your problem crawl space into a dry, healthy, energy-saving crawl space today and call the real, local, family-owned crawl space experts. Swainco Crawl Space and Basement Repair, 317-407-1868 or SwaincoLLC.com.
A cancer diagnosis can make time stand still. That's why it's important to access care fast. At Community Health Network MD Anderson Cancer Center, you can go from making initial contact with us to sitting down for an initial consultation in just 48 hours. Guaranteed. It's faster access to the expertise and innovative treatments of the country's leading cancer center. Learn more about Community MD Anderson at ecommunity.com/cancer.
This is Ryan again, owner of Plumbing Heating Paramedics. Paramedics know that timing is everything, and for us, mild weather this time of year means furnace sales are slower, which means you can take advantage of our best offer of the year. Now through December 10th, we are offering $2,500 off a new Trane furnace or air conditioner. A deal this strong allows us to keep our technicians busy and gives you the best deal of the year. Call to schedule your free home evaluation today or visit phparamedics.com for more details.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
A busy morning for the fire department. 60 degrees and sunny on Monument Circle. All clear on the radar. Lows into the 40s tonight. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 3:31. There was a fire on Indy's southeast side at the Emerson Village Lake Apartments near the intersection of Emerson Avenue and Shelbyville Road around 4:15 this morning.
IFB got there shortly after and found heavy fire pushing from the roof area of the building. We had evacuation was in progress, and so we had about 20 people evacuate and that are now displaced.
Meaning they don't have a place to stay, says Indianapolis Fire Department Battalion Chief Rita Reith. One firefighter was injured but is supposed to be okay. They're trying to figure out what caused the apartment fire. Indy Metro Police say one person is dead after a shooting near a trailer park on Night Song Drive on the southwest side near Lyndhurst Drive and Troy Avenue. Police haven't ID'd the victim or said what led to the shooting. It's the 200th confirmed homicide this year. The U.S. Justice Department is sending Civil Rights Division and U.S. Attorney's Office officials to monitor polls in 64 jurisdictions nationwide. However, Florida is taking issue with that.
They wanted to be inside the polling places, and they couldn't provide a reason to be there, nor any statutory authority for them to be there. So we asked them that they respect Florida law.
Secretary of State Cord Byrd says they're welcome to remain outside polling places to make sure federal voting rights laws are being followed. The Pentagon announced last week another $400 million in assistance to Ukraine. Pentagon Press Secretary Pat Ryder said 2 ground-based air defense systems arrived today.
These systems will contribute to Ukraine's air defense capabilities and will help protect the Ukrainian people against Russian aerial attacks, to include those conducted by unmanned aerial vehicles or cruise missiles.
He says the Pentagon still can't confirm reports that Iran is providing Russia with ballistic missiles for use in Ukraine. At least one winning Powerball ticket was sold in the Los Angeles area for a jackpot worth over $2 billion. California lottery officials say the ticket was bought northeast of L.A. It's the largest jackpot in American history. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 3:33.
Greetings from R&R Agency, your Indiana health insurance pros, and a thank you to our loyal customers for making our agency a national sales leader for the 7th straight year. We recently saved a family of 4 over $500 monthly when compared to their ACA plan. You know it's still Obamacare, right? We recently saved a 61-year-old retiring couple over $600 when compared to their COBRA plan. Breaking news! We are now able to offer health insurance to employer groups of all sizes with 2 of the largest insurers in the Midwest. We've been in the same location with the same phone number for 27 years. We'll be here when you need us. Quoting my favorite president, what in the heck do you have to lose? Call me at 317-435-1718 or go to rragency.org. That's 317-435-1718 or rragency.org. Don't let the federal government or their big insurance company cronies tell you that you don't have a choice. We can help. As always, God bless America, or at least what's left of her.
But traffic at 3:34. Here's Dan Levy.
Traffic conditions right now as we head towards 69 southbound and 465. The exit ramp partially blocked with that bad accident. Traffic is stop and go from 106th Street into the scene of that wreck. We have news of a building fire. This one's right around State Road 32 in Madison, and 65 in the north end southbound. You're heavy State Road 47 into State Road 32. This report is sponsored by Donate Life Indiana. Say yes to being an organ donor when you renew your hunting license online. Learn more at donatelifeindiana.org. I'm Dan Levy. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Mostly clear skies remain in place for tonight. Low temperatures right around 40 degrees. Tomorrow, mostly sunny. High temperatures into the upper 60s. I'm Wish TV's Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Harrison Silcox on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
All right, listen up. And now, let's go live to a press conference with Colts owner Jim Irsay.
Moving forward with, again, look at...
This has been a press conference with Colts owner Jim Irsay.
That's so not cool.
Hammer and Nigel.
Was that from last night?
They all sound the same, Nigel.
I was going to say.
They all sound the same.
Now, Hammer, you watched the press conference last night. I didn't get a chance to watch it. I've read all about it. It sounded kind of, I don't know, maybe awkward. is a good word to throw in there with, it was the owner, Jim Irsay, the GM, Ballard, and Jeff Saturday, the new head coach on the dais, right?
I kind of felt bad for Jeff Saturday up there because it looked like he was having to sit through mommy and daddy fighting. Because you had Jim Irsay, who was being very defensive about a lot of things last night, and then Chris Ballard sitting at that press conference looks like a kid who just got a big lump of coal for Christmas. He had his arms crossed. He was kind of surly. You could tell Chris Ballard did not sign off on any of this and did not want to be there last night.
Wow.
So this is Jim Irsay on why he went with Jeff Saturday as compared to other coaches that are currently on the staff.
He's the best man for the job, and there's no question about it, in my mind, and I've been around it a long time. Last coach I hired as an interim head coach was Bruce Arians. It was the right coach, So, he was the best guy. That's why. I mean, there's no other mystery behind that.
And the look on the face of Chris Ballard just looked like someone gave him the most sour, sweet tart in the world, and he's just sitting there with his arms crossed.
Yeah, the thing was with that Bruce Arians, look, I hired a coach, an interim coach, Bruce Arians. He had experience.
He did.
I'm almost thinking, I'm just projecting at this point, but if you're Jeff Saturday, are you kind of like I wonder if he said yes right away, or is like, man, I don't know. Just out of respect for the job of the head coach of a major franchise, the NFL.
Well, Jim Irsay did mention last night that if Jeff Saturday would have said no, Frank Reich was still going to be the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. Sounds like behind the scenes, Jeff Saturday has been lobbying to become part of this organization for a while. He's been a consultant last couple of years, and I think it was Kevin Bowen and Jake Query on the morning show on our sister station, The Fan, that made a good point. Over this next 8 games, because that's what's left for the Colts, Jeff Saturday could just be taking inventory, seeing what players are good, what players are overpriced, because that could be the new general manager. He could be the new Chris Ballard, and they could be hiring a coach at the end of the year.
Chris Ballard's basically training Jeff Saturday how to do his job.
Correct. Which is why he looked a little salty up there last night. And, of course, when you have a Jim Irsay press conference, sometimes you get things like this.
I don't know how to make sausage. I don't know what goes into sausage. But I do know how to build a football team.
Okay.
And sometimes you get analytic Jim Irsay.
We're the 4th winningest franchise in the league since 2000. All right, that means in the upper quartile of winners, we're in the top quartile of that upper quartile.
Hang that banner up right now at Lucas Oil Stadium. Since 2000, we're in the upper quartile of the top quartile of the top quartiles. I want that banner to be right next to AFC finalists. And again, eventually we got the Jeff Saturday last night. This is the interim head coach of your Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, I'm excited about the opportunity. I hope they are, right? I hope they know how much I care about this organization, about this community as a whole. I mean, my adult life was built here, and I don't diminish this opportunity even the slightest, even if it is for 8 games and everybody wants to run me out of town. Like I believe that I'm called for a reason, and I would not have accepted it without that.
So what do you think, Nigel? You're a Colts fan. You're the first one to send out a salty text message on our chain the minute something goes bad. Yeah. What do you think?
I think Jeff Saturday is obviously I do wonder if there was hesitation. I wonder if he's kind of embarrassed on any level, just out of respect and deference to the actual position of head coach of the NFL, of a major NFL franchise, when you don't have any experience coaching in the NFL or college. But I guess screw everybody else.
Right.
Screw it. This is an opportunity. It's here. It landed in my lap. And maybe there's better people out there for the job, but it landed in my lap, and damn it, I'm going to take it and try to go with it and try to run with it. So ultimately, I think that's where his mind is at. I mean, like if somebody asked me, you know what, Nigel, we're going to make you president of the United States just up until the election of 2024. You interested in the job? I'd probably be like, Nah.
Oh, come on. We need you more than Joe Biden right now. Hell, let's skip Mayor Nige. Let's go to President Nige. I'm here for that. One of the things I keep hearing, though, man, is like, I can't believe this. This is such a PR stunt. And maybe it is. I'm not going to lie. Maybe this is. But there were coaches that had experience on the staff on Sunday. Did anybody watch that game on Sunday with all the experienced coaches? They were awful. That was one of the worst Colts performances I've ever seen.
Brutal.
So could Jeff Saturday be any worse than all of those experienced coaches this past weekend? I doubt it. Here's a little bit more from the future general manager.
I'm going to be your toughest critic, but I'm going to be your greatest cheerleader. And I've always done that. I've always believed in that. And that's the way I wanted to be coached. And that's how I'll continue to coach.
So that was Jeff Saturday. And now let's turn to Chris Ballard. Again, Ballard didn't want to be there. You could just look at his body language and say, that's a dude that's not happy. And he was really defensive last night, too. He had a message for everybody that was saying how bad the offensive line is.
I sure did. Defensively, I would tell you we're playing pretty good football. Offensively is where we gotta make some hay. We've not played as well up front as we need to play. And I think you all know as y'all have been kicking the shit out of me for years for not drafting wideouts, and all of a sudden I'll look up and, we're underperforming on the offensive line right now.
So because everybody was critical of Chris Ballard for not drafting any receivers that were any good, he says that when he finally did, he neglected the offensive line. Because I guess we can't walk and chew gum at the same time,
That's right.
Chris. You couldn't win the worst division in football over 5, 6, 7 year time frame? Unacceptable. And here's a little bit more from a very salty Chris Ballard.
I think you know me well enough, all of you. I don't sit here and act like I don't share some of the blame. Damn right I do. I also know that we got 8 games left, and I'm not just ready to fire the towel in like everybody else.
Oh, like everybody else.
Is he talking about the fans? Or was he talking about members within the organization?
That I don't know. So that's really interesting to me.
About us irrational, passionate Colts fans and just throwing in the towel. Hey, I am going to be interested to see what is going to happen this Sunday. What if everybody else in the AFC South starts losing and the Colts start winning?
If they pick up 1 third down, if they convert 1 third down, I think that's progress, right?
Oh boy!
Score one for the unexperienced guy if they convert 1 stinking third down.
If maybe they score on an opening drive, possibly. The bar is pretty low there.
So there's another angle of this story. Mike Freeman of the USA Today. This is the headline: Colts hiring Jeff Saturday is a slap in the face of black coaches. Now, in NFL, there's a thing called the Rooney Rule, which means if there's a head coaching opportunity, you have to interview candidates of color.
Even this is just interim, though.
Well, see, you get it, but Mike Freeman doesn't. You can't pick somebody's assistant coach off their staff mid-season. It doesn't work that way. Eric Bieniemy is not leaving the Kansas City Chiefs right now to come here to run out the string with this awful Colts team. Byron Leftwich is not going to leave Tom Brady right now to come to this blank show. Now, in the offseason, yes, they'll have that interview process. And oh, by the way, of the last 4 head coaches of the Indianapolis Colts, half of them have been black guys. Half. So Jim Irsay's a lot of things, right? He's eccentric. He's kind of wacky. He sometimes sounds like Fetterman, but I don't think he's a racist.
No, of course not. But it will be interesting after the season ends and they do decide to go with Jeff Saturday. And, usually you always talk about, well, they went with the best guy with the job, the guy with the best resume. He doesn't exactly have a resume.
No.
You're not going to be able to fall back on that one.
I think Jeff Saturday's walking around practice right now like the Bobs in Office Space. What would you say you do here? And he's going to be the guy making those calls in the offseason. Just my thoughts. It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
The latest local news. Commentary from Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey,
5.6%.
Hammer and Nigel.
Biden.
Podcasts. Listen to the station live whenever, wherever. Online at WIBC.com.
Did you know that you need to winterize your roof?
Let Moss Roofing be your first call. MossRoofing.com. Call Moss Roofing before winter hits. Damaged siding can create one big winter project that you do not want to deal with, especially in that frigid cold. Moss Roofing can inspect, repair, or replace damaged siding. They can also recommend downspout extensions or top-notch gutter guards if they see any red flags during the inspection. Let's talk insulation. Investing in and reinforcing your home's insulation with Moss Roofing can reduce your energy bills and keep you warmer this winter. Whether you need to install new insulation or replace your existing insulation, you can always turn to Moss Roofing. Moss Roofing will find the solution that works best for you and your budget. The expert inspectors from Moss Roofing can identify your unique needs. Whether you need winter-ready insulation, gutters, repairs, or a replacement, the Moss Roofing team will come up with a custom winterizing plan for you. Visit mossroofing.com to get your winter prep started today.
Smith & Wesson is committed to empowering Americans, no matter what. With inflation hitting everywhere, we've decided to make a change. Now, you can buy a Smith & Wesson Shield Plus, our most popular concealed carry firearm, at an all-new low price, $100 off MSRP. We're absorbing the costs and passing along the savings to you, so you don't have to compromise on personal security. Visit smithandwesson.com to find a Shield Plus near you. Smith & Wesson. Always expect the best.
Does runaway inflation and reckless spending in Washington have you worried about the security of your hard-earned retirement savings? If so, it's time to call the precious metal experts at Fisher Capital. Fisher Capital specializes in helping investors like you diversify their retirement portfolio and preserve wealth with physical gold and silver. Whether you're looking to acquire coins or bars, open a gold IRA, or just want to learn more about the advantages of owning precious metals, Fisher Capital will equip you with the knowledge you need to make an informed decision that's right for you and your family. Call Fisher Capital today at 800-376-4333. That's 800-476-4333. Mention WIBC when you call to get a free, no-obligation investor kit. 800-376-4333. 800-376-4333. Past performance does not guarantee future results. Don't lose another night's sleep worrying about the security of your retirement savings. Call Fisher Capital. 800-376-4333.
It's time to vote, Indy. Go to vote.indy.gov to find the most convenient location to cast your ballot in person on Election Day, Tuesday, November 8th. Remember, you can vote at any vote center in Marion County. Also consider voting early, right up to the day before Election Day. Find all the vote center locations and hours, sample ballots, and essential information for voting in person at vote.indy.gov. That's vote.indy.gov. Message paid for by the Marion County Election Board.
You need more than fast internet. You need ultra-fast Xfinity internet that checks all the boxes. Ultra-fast internet that's strong enough to power a house full of devices? Check. Ultra-fast internet that's also reliable? Check. Whew. Ultra-fast internet with unlimited data included so you can do more of what you love online? With smarter network security? All starting at way less than you think? Check, check, check. That's internet that checks all the boxes. That's Xfinity. Get an amazing value on Xfinity Internet with unlimited data included. Switch for $55 a month for 12 months. There's no annual contract required, so it's risk-free. And there are no equipment fees. Plus, activate advanced security free with the XFi Gateway. Go online, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. New fast internet customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. After 12 months, regular rates apply to all services and devices.
Have an old furnace? Text the year your furnace was installed to B&W at 317-868-7900 and you could win one of 2 new furnaces right before Christmas. B&W is your American Standard Air dealer.
Tune in Saturdays 9 to 1 for the Home and Garden Show for plenty of advice and fun, brought to you by Michaelis. Water, storms, fire, and foundation, life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it.
It's B-Windows Black Friday sale.
52% discount plus manufacturer's rebates and no interest, no payments for 18 months.
Trust me.
There's a lot of sexy content on the internet. And there's WIBC, full of faces meant for radio. Hammer and Nigel, Kendall and Casey. Okay, Casey could be on TV. Now streaming every day on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/WIBC.
Dan Levy is filling in for Matt Baer.
Sir, yes, sir. 69 going southbound at 465. We still have the exit ramp partially blocked, all because of a pretty nasty accident. Traffic is stacked up from 106. Stop and go traffic north end 65 southbound, State Road 47 into State Road 32, and then 465 on the north side eastbound. You're stacked up Keystone I-69. This report is sponsored by B Window. Don't miss the annual B Window Black Friday sale. Save up to 52% discount plus manufacturer's rebates and no payments, no interest for 18 months. BWindow.com. I'm Dan Levy. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
In regards to how long it's taking people to vote, about 30 minutes ago, Angie tweets at us at Hammer and Nigel, Marion County, 10-minute wait. Poll workers said this is the most amount of people he's seen voting, including a presidential election.
Wow.
Been busy nonstop all day long. Right now it's 61 at the American Standard Heating Weather Center at 93 WIBC.
The Hammer and Nigel Show.
Those goopy bastards are just about the best thing I've got going in this crazy world.
93 WIBC.
And, you know, I wonder how many people are on their way scrambling to get into the voting booth. There's only, 2 hours left, right? About around 2 hours left, and they don't know who they're going to vote for. Like the undecideds.
The undecided voter.
You got to wonder if there's still people that are walking into that voting booth. Who is it going to be? Is it going to be Destiny Wells? Or is it going to be Diego Morales? I don't know. I can't think. I don't know. Here we have something for you, the Hammer and Nigel Show. We set up the hotline to help you undecided voters.
You have reached the undecided voter hotline. If you still haven't decided whom you're going to vote for, press 1. No, wait, press 2. Hold it. 1. Definitely press 1. However, pushing 2 might be better. You know what? Drink a cup of coffee and think about it. No, make that tea. Coffee. Tea. Coffee. Tea. Thanks for calling the undecided voter hotline.
I am curious if there are undecided voters on the major races.
I think there's voters that care. I think there's voters that they know they have to get out there and vote. They want to vote for the right people. Like I was texting my wife back and forth today. She's voting. She's so stuck in her job that she doesn't really have time to do a lot of research. And I told her here, I just told her who I voted for. Here's the school board members I voted for. Here's where I voted Libertarian. Here's where I voted Republican.
And then she voted the opposite of every single one of them.
She goes, all right, thanks for giving me a playbook to go by. So I mean, she's smart, but a lot of people just don't know. Don't know who the best candidate is.
Since it is election day, I think this would set the mood. Great moments in voting history. Now, as you know, I'm a South Park guy. I love the show South Park. The way they bring the story all together at the end, chef's kiss, and nobody talks about elections better than those guys do. Remember when MTV launched that Vote or Die campaign? It was like Puff Daddy and all these rappers, and the campaign was called Vote or Die.
Vote or Die?
Vote or Die. They had T-shirts made. South Park had some fun with it.
Puff Daddy?
Your friend Kyle told me you don't understand the importance of voting. Apparently you haven't heard of my Vote or Die campaign.
Vote or Die? What the hell does that even mean?
What you think it means, Vote or die, motherfucker, vote or die. Rock the vote or else I'm gonna stick a knife through your eye. Democracy is founded on one simple rule. Get out there and vote or I will kill you.
No, I had not heard that before in my life.
And it was in that same episode where the kids were picking a school mascot, a giant douche or a turd sandwich. And the message that comes together at the end is, don't you see, every election is between a douche and a turd. And that's when the light bulb popped above my head, and they had this song.
Let's get out and vote. Let's make our voices heard. We've been given the right to choose between a douche and a turd. Democracy in action. Put your freedom to the test. A big fat turd or a stupid douche. Which do you like best?
Every election is between those options. That's the lesson, and it's absolutely right. It's the Hammer and Nigel Show. Guys, if you need an annual health exam, check out the Low T Center to get your complete health assessment. They'll check all of your levels, not just your T level. In most cases, it's completely covered by your health insurance. And if you don't have insurance, it's less than $100 for a full lab panel and office visit with the medical provider. And they give you a complete health assessment. Low T Center, specializing in men's health. Go to lowtcenter.com right now. Book online. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Come into Bell Tire today. You'll get the lowest tire price, period. Get up to $200 off a set of 4 Goodyear tires. You'll also get a guy who will give you free lifetime flat repairs, tire rotations, and alignment checks. Get up to $200 off a set of 4 Goodyear tires. Plus more free services and more out of your tires and more for your money. It's how we make the lowest tire price feel even lower at Bell Tire. See store and belltire.com for details and offer expiration.
This is Ryan again, owner of Plumbing Heating Paramedics. Paramedics know that timing is everything. And for us, mild weather this time of year means furnace sales are slower, which means you can take advantage of our best offer of the year. Now through December 10th, we are offering $2,500 off a new Trane furnace or air conditioner. A deal this strong allows us to keep our technicians busy and gives you the best deal of the year. Call to schedule your free home evaluation today or visit phparamedics.com for more details.
At Landmark Recovery, we know that living life addicted to drugs or alcohol is isolating and empty, especially during the holidays. Do you really want to live life that way? Get help with your addiction to find a more fulfilling way to live life. Reconnect to who you really are and the people who love you most. Get addiction help with Landmark Recovery. Call 866-LANDMARK or visit landmarkrecovery.com today.
Did you know 96% of Americans lose an average of $111,000 in Social Security income? It's true. 96% of Americans lose an average of $111,000 in Social Security income. And it's all because they claim their benefits at the wrong time. Learn how you could avoid this with a free, customized Social Security analysis from Bill Demery, your retirement guy. If you've saved at least $200,000 for retirement and have not filed for Social Security, schedule your free analysis now by calling 317-972-9172. Don't lose tens of thousands of dollars in Social Security income that's rightfully yours. Schedule your free analysis now by calling 317-972-9172. 317-972-9172.
When joint pain is getting in the way of your life, Community Health Network Orthopedic Specialty Care can help. Community specialists offer comprehensive care for every type of orthopedic issue. And our convenient locations and simple scheduling options make it easier to get the relief you need. Learn more at ecommunity.com/ortho. Community Health Network. Exceptional care, simply delivered.
Your home is your sanctuary. Get the peace of mind you deserve with a free estimate on a Generac automatic standby generator for your home from Generator Supercenter, the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. With expert installation and 24-hour monitoring, Generator Supercenter won't leave you in the dark. Financing is available. Take control of your power today with Generator Supercenter. Call 317-827-0808. Generator Supercenter of Indianapolis, 317-827-0808.
Hammer and Nigel here, inviting you to join us as we kick off the weekend every Friday around 5:45 with Beer Sample Friday, brought to you by our friends at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
Coming up in 2 minutes, your local news from around Indianapolis after Fox News Radio from the Shepherd Community Center studios. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis.
So far, so good. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
In general, what we see is a lot of people voting.
Philadelphia District Attorney Larry Krasner, Pennsylvania, one of the states with ongoing legal challenges, mainly over mail-in ballots.
We see high turnout. We see election workers who have not had to deal with the spectacle of militias or guns being brandished or threats.
Nationwide, Homeland Security officials say they've seen no credible threat to disrupt today's voting and no activity to question the integrity of election infrastructure. The midterms will decide the balance of power in both the U.S. House and the Senate, though some close races may not have final results tonight. 36 states are choosing governors, including Arizona, where Republican Carrie Lake has already been floated as a potential Trump running mate if the former president runs again in 2024.
I am going to not only be the governor of Arizona for 4 years, I'm going to do 2 terms. I'm going to be your worst freaking nightmare for 8 years. And we will reform the media as well.
Lake also pledging election reform. She's up against Democratic Secretary of State Katie Hobbs, who defended the Biden win in Arizona against Trump's fraud claims. The search for a suspected arsonist in Mississippi after fires were set near a historically black college. Officials in Jackson calling it a major occurrence.
At least 7 fires broke out overnight on or near the Jackson State University campus. At least 2 of the buildings set ablaze were churches. Another fire breaking out on Jackson State's baseball field. Police now on the hunt for one suspected arsonist as they seek to learn the motivation behind the fires.
Fox's Matt Napolitano. None of the fires involved polling places and no injuries reported. An Election Day rally on Wall Street. The Dow up 335 points at the closing bell, though it had been a 500-point rally during the session. America is listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
And investments in electric vehicles. Sunny, 60 degrees in downtown Indianapolis. Radar is clear, a low of 42 tonight. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 4:02. Several companies are investing billions of dollars into Indiana for electric vehicle production. Donnie Burgess reports.
Governor Eric Holcomb tells Inside Indiana Business it's silly to think that the market for electric vehicles isn't responding to demand. For Holcomb, it's all about keeping all options open and expanding every single energy outlet.
We want to make sure that all the innovation that's occurring, that's really driving the possibility that we now have more sources, alternatives to choose from, that puts us in a position of strength.
He's headed to Egypt with the hope of bringing more investments and jobs to the Hoosier State. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Indy Metro Police say one person is dead after a shooting near a trailer park on Nightsong Drive on the southwest side near Lyndhurst Drive and Troy Avenue. Police haven't ID'd the victim or said what led to the shooting. They responded early this afternoon. It is the 200th confirmed homicide this year. Significant damage was reported at the Emerson Village Lake apartment complex on Indy's southeast side because of a fire there this morning. But Rita Reith with the Indianapolis Fire Department says it could have been a lot worse.
Nobody was injured on the civilian side. We did have one firefighter injured.
That firefighter did have some heat exhaustion, but was back at work later. At least 20 people now don't have a place to live. They're getting assistance from the Red Cross. The cause of the fire is still unknown. The man accused of shooting a Richmond police officer has been formally charged with murder. Online records filed Monday show that 1 count of murder has been added to the case against 47-year-old Philip Lee, who's accused of shooting and killing Sierra Burton during a traffic stop in August. She died from her injuries in September. This week is Winter Weather Preparedness Week, says the National Weather Service.
Here we are. It's getting to be almost the middle of November. Thanksgiving's around the corner. We have some colder weather coming up in our forecast.
Alex McGinnis, a meteorologist with the National Weather Service, says keep your car stocked up with things to keep you warm like a blanket, and don't let your gas tank get too low. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 4:04.
Do you get sinus infections, congestion, sinus pressure and pain, above your eyes, below your eyes? Sinus headaches? You've gone to the doctor, you've visited urgent care over and over again, and it's always the same thing. Oh, I know. Let's try antibiotics and nasal sprays. But the sinus infections keep coming back. The good news? Relief is possible. How? A minimally invasive procedure done in the office of Indianapolis Sinus Center called balloon sinuplasty. Imagine the relief of not having to deal with your sinus infections anymore. Set an appointment today with Indianapolis Sinus Center and find out if balloon sinuplasty is the solution for you. Call 317-528-9650. 317-528-9650. That's 317-528-9650.
With traffic at 4:05, here's Dan Levy.
Still a nasty situation on the 69 southbound at 465. Exit ramp partially blocked with a bad crash. Traffic is stopping on from 106th Street into the scene of that accident. That 65 on the north end southbound, you're slow 47 to State Road 32. Further southbound 21st into the 70 north split. This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. Make the hiring process work for you. With Indeed's end-to-end hiring solution, you can attract, interview, and hire candidates all from one place. Start at Indeed.com/credit. I'm Dan Levy. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Mostly clear skies remain in place for tonight. Low temperatures right around 40 degrees. Tomorrow, mostly sunny. High temperatures into the upper 60s. I'm Wish TV's Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Harrison Silcox on the level on the go and on WIBC.com.
Hammer and Nigel.
Can you believe these characters are weirdos?
On 93 WIBC.
So let's rock it.
My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer is here, also joining us live in studio, part of our election coverage all day and all night long. Abdul Hakim Shabazz writes for IndyPolitics.org, hosts Abdul at Large Saturdays right here on 93 WIBC. Abdul, so what are you looking at? What's on your radar right now here?
Is today Friday? Supposed to be in here on Friday.
We know you drink a lot, but today is not Friday.
Oh, man. It's a THC day. Gosh darn it. No, always good to be here, gentlemen. It's election day. Midterm election, so it's all over but the shouting. You got a couple hours of voting left before the polls close in most of Indiana. But don't forget, Indiana is also in the central time zone, so the northern and southern corners of the state, they'll close at 7 o'clock our time. Obviously, we're paying attention to the U.S. Senate race, the Marion County Prosecutor, Secretary of State, and the 1st Congressional District are the sort of the four kind of marquee races everybody's sort of paying attention to right now.
And I want to get into some of those races here in just a moment, but any shenanigans here in Indiana in terms of voter issues this morning?
Nothing more than usual. I mean, obviously, you got 4.5 million registered voters in Indiana, hundreds of polling places. You're going to have an issue or two. For example, in St. Joe and Hancock County earlier today, they wouldn't let in the Libertarian poll watchers because they said, "Hey, you're not credentialed." They were credentialed. They got in.
That sounds familiar to you, doesn't it?
Well, at least they spoke to him. At least they did talk to him. Then also, this one you had a couple issues with voting machines, but nothing, no major broad conspiracy or anything like that.
Okay, so let's get into some of these races. Let's start with national type of ramifications. Who's going to go to Washington? Looks like Todd Young feels like that's going to be a win for him. Any chances of an upset anywhere else in terms of congressional seats in Indiana?
There's always a chance of an upset, but the probability and likelihood are two totally different.
What about the first district up by the region? Because that's Mervan. He's the incumbent, but Jennifer Ruth Green, she feels like she's got a lot of momentum. And we were talking off the air. This has been a nasty campaign. Her sexual assault was outed by Politico. And you've got the Congressional Black Caucus supporting the white Democrat and not the female black Republican.
And no, just kidding.
As the resident black guy in the room, Abdul, is this normal? Yeah. Is this the kind of thing that normally happens with the Congressional Black Caucus?
Oddly enough, yes, it does. Believe it or not. I think Frank Mervan will pull off a victory. I think it'll be close. The last poll I saw, he was like 47-40. That was later this summer by U.S. term limits. I think he pulls off, but maybe like 2 or 3 points, only because it's first term and it still leans Democratic.
Around the nation, it looks like the Senate's going to come down to probably 4 states, the 4 key states here: Georgia, Pennsylvania, Nevada, and Arizona. What do you think about those states tonight?
I think Democrats keep Arizona. I think Republicans pick up Nevada. And I actually think Democrats win Georgia and Pennsylvania. Because I've been looking at some early voting numbers and some early voting data that's been out there for a while. And it's interesting because the question is, Democrats do well on early voting, Republicans do well on Election Day. So the question is, do Democrats build enough of a firewall to push back the Republican red wave? I think with the number of early votes in Pennsylvania and Georgia, I think they do.
Pennsylvania, we're not going to find this out for a while,
no.
Right? What's going on there?
Usually because what happens is in Pennsylvania with the early voting, like for example in Florida, I'll give Ron DeSantis credit. When they count the votes, they count the early votes before they do the official counting. Then they add them in. That's why Florida gets done so relatively early. In Pennsylvania, you can't vote any count until after the polls close. So you got millions of absentee ballots out there. So you got to wait until after the polls close to count the absentee ballots.
So how long do we have to wait here in Indiana then? I mean, are we going to know Senator Young?
Yeah, we should know.
Secretary of State.
Yeah, we should know everything pretty much this evening in Indiana.
Where are you at with the Secretary of State race? I know it's been a big talking point on Rob and Casey's show. Diego Morales, a vulnerable Republican in a very red state. Can the Libertarian get to 10% here? Destiny Wells, there's a lot of momentum behind her. What do you think?
I think the Libertarians get to 10%. I think the Secretary of State's race is a toss-up. I think it leans a little bit Destiny Wells, just a little bit. Like I said, those suburban Republican women aren't crazy about some of the things that's been attached to Diego Morales. But even if Diego Morales wins, I don't think he'll have that seat for very long because I think he'll be indicted for possibly voter fraud.
Now, let's get into that. For those who might not be following this story as closely as we all do, what's the latest?
The latest is, first of all, when Diego ran for Congress back in 2018, he lived in Marion County, had his primary residence in Marion County, had his homestead property tax exemption credit in Marion County, but he voted in Hendricks County, which is, you're not supposed to do that. That could be considered voter fraud. I do know that state police is taking a look at the law. They're not necessarily haven't done any formal investigation yet, but they are looking at the law to see how it applies, because this is how they ended up getting Charlie White back in 2010.
So this kind of thing has happened before in the state of Indiana.
Yes.
And then who is it that picks his replacement? It's Holcomb, isn't it?
Yeah, if Diego is indicted and he's found guilty of voter fraud, which is a level 5 felony, if you're convicted of a felony, you have to step down. And then the governor makes the pick, and so we're all kind of jokingly saying in the back that he'll pick Holly Sullivan, who Diego beat in the primary. So we just said all that to go the long way around the barn.
So that's who the governor wanted at the very beginning of this process.
Yeah, I don't think he'll do it, but it would be funny if he did.
So what can we expect in terms of coverage all through the night tonight here at 93 WIBC?
We work with our partners at Fox News. Fox News take care of the national stuff. We'll take care of the state and local things. We'll be on like the top of the bottom of the hour, like 8 to 10 minutes and some change. Just get everyone up to speed. We'll have people at the Republican, Democrat, and Libertarian headquarters this evening. So it'll be fun. So follow us on Twitter, Facebook, the whole 9 yards.
When will we find out the results of the Marion County Prosecutor's race?
I say we should have by 10 o'clock.
By 10?
This evening.
And how close do you think it's going to be, or do you think it's going to be close?
I think it's going to be close. The fact that Cindy Carrasco had $300,000 dropped in her bank account the last couple of weeks of the campaign helps. Number two, in Center Township, which is very heavily Democratic, there are a ton of Cindy Carrasco yard signs in yards. Now, granted, yard signs don't vote. We all know that. But yard signs in yards show you those people are supporting that particular person. Also the fact that Cindy Carrasco and Kerry Forstall both have sort of the same sort of anti-crime themes that they're running their commercial as, but Ryan Mears is taking the more holistic approach.
How much difference can $300,000 make in a bank account?
Quite a bit.
Like, what is she doing with that? I mean,
advertising.
Run
lots of television, radio ads.
Okay.
I saw her commercials on the big Georgia and Tennessee game, and I thought, man, if you're a sports fan, you're probably watching this football game on Saturday, and she had a couple ads during that. One more thing here, Abdul, before we let you go. My oldest just committed to the University of Indianapolis.
Going to be a Greyhound.
You are a teacher there, right?
Yes.
So what's going to happen when Chris Hammer walks into your class and sits down?
Going to hand him a note that says, "Abandon hope, all ye who enter."
Why am I going to have parent-teacher conferences with Abdul? I'm going to have to walk in here.
Actually, college, we don't do parent-teacher conferences.
What the hell's going on in here?
They're grown-ups and adults, so they're on their own. So we'll see how good a job you did raising your son.
Hey, if you think I'm a hothead, wait till you get a load of the kid.
Yeah, the 2.0 is always the worst version.
Abdul, looking forward to the coverage tonight. Thank you very much.
Hey, thank you.
All right, Dan Levy filling in for Matt Baer. What's going on?
Well, as of right now, 69 going southbound, still solid as you approach 465, all because of a crash. Partially blocking that exit ramp, you are stacked up from 106. Also 65 on the north end. Southbound's backed up 47 to State Road 32, and then again 21st into the I-70 North split. This report is sponsored by Fisher Homes. It's the Red Bow Sales Event. Fisher Homes is offering savings on move-in-ready homes and one-time complimentary refinancing for 3 years. Visit FisherHomes.com. I'm Dan Levy. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
So on our YouTube stream, I always put my camera on our guest, right? Because it's closest to me. It's the easiest to do. Somebody just wrote, I went to the bathroom, I came back, and it looks like Hammer got a tan. Because it's on Abdul right now.
Right.
61 at the American Standard Heating Weather Center. Is this anything? Next.
Events shaping your vote
Inflation, education, immigration, and crime.
Codifying Roe v.
will be the events that shape our country.
This election is crucial.
Elections are about the future.
Nothing less is at stake.
Red wave,
Energized Republicans,
or blue wave,
Democrats.
You'll find out.
We do have too much inflation.
Tuesday night, starting at 7. Real-time election results and analysis.
Big night for us.
Possession. Midterm election night.
This is the defining moment.
On 93 WIBC.
Man, oh man, let me tell you, if you're planning on a holiday engagement, don't do a thing. Don't go anywhere until you've had a chance to check out Diamonds Direct's biggest and final sale of the year, store-wide, 3 days of a ton of extra savings. It's huge. This Friday through Sunday, your final chance before the holidays to save an extra 20% on virtually everything.
This is it. This is the big one. Diamonds Direct, breaking all the rules, taking the rule book, throwing it out the window. Extreme value for their final store-wide sale of the year. Get all the information at diamondsdirect.com or stop by that beautiful showroom right there at Keystone at the Crossing. It's this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. 20% savings on just about everything in the store. Diamond rings, earrings, pendants, you name it, it's on sale this Friday through Sunday. Diamonds Direct. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Does your financial advisor regularly outperform the market? The way 2022 is headed, I am doubting it. Average index losses already 5 to 10%, then there's inflation. And, of course, the fees you're likely paying your advisor. Dan Dockage here to put a stop to that. Don't let another advisor ride the market down with your money. Instead, do what I've done. Connect with Crown Haven. Crown Haven's priority is to create a secure retirement, free from financial stress. That starts with their registered Retire Shield financial plan. Crown Haven creates opportunities that gives you confidence in your financial future. The result is your happiness in retirement, a retirement that you've worked many years to produce and deserve to enjoy, free from financial worry. To learn more, visit www.crownhaven.com to qualify for a free planning session. Crown Haven is working for me. They can work for you. Go to crownhaven.com or give them a call right now at 765-522-7233. Tell them Dan sent you to Crown Haven Wealth Advisors.
Nobody cares for you like family. Family Heating and Air.
Maintenance is going to drastically increase the efficiency and performance of your system. It's also going to significantly improve the longevity of it. People think that they are saving money by skipping their maintenance, and in reality, they're just shaving years off the life and increasing the consumption of that unit, spending a lot more in the long term.
Get your tune-up today at Family Heating and Air, your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Smith & Wesson is committed to empowering Americans, no matter what. With inflation hitting everywhere, we've decided to make a change. Now, you can buy a Smith & Wesson Shield Plus, our most popular concealed carry firearm, at an all-new low price, $100 off MSRP. We're absorbing the costs and passing along the savings to you so you don't have to compromise on personal security. Visit smithandwesson.com to find a Shield Plus near you. Smith & Wesson, always expect the best.
At Landmark Recovery, we know that living life addicted to drugs or alcohol is isolating and empty, especially during the holidays. Do you really want to live life that way? Get help with your addiction to find a more fulfilling way to live life. Reconnect to who you really are and the people who love you most. Get addiction help with Landmark Recovery. Call 866-LANDMARK or visit landmarkrecovery.com today.
The next time you visit your healthcare provider, we'll ask you about your race, ethnicity, and preferred language. Why do we ask? We ask because we care. Providing you with the highest level of care requires that we know all we can about you. Not only will this help us take better care of you, it will also help us learn more about our community and the additional services we can provide to keep Indiana as healthy as possible. This message is brought to you by Indiana University Health, Eskenazi Health, and Community Health Network.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by B&W Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Drains, your American Standard air dealer.
Hammer and Nigel presents
It depends upon what the meaning of the word is.
Is this anything?
On 93 WIBC.
All right, Hammer. How do we play Is This Anything?
I'll run some stories by you. You break down all the information. Then you give us a verdict. Is this story anything or not? Dateline, Florida. 2 Florida police officers are being investigated after arresting a blind man over his walking stick. Apparently, the officers thought it was a gun, and when 61-year-old James Hodges became agitated, the situation escalated to him being arrested for resisting arrest.
What's this in your back pocket?
The navigational aids. What's the problem? You a tyrant?
Yeah, I am actually. What's your name and date of birth?
I don't have to give that unless
Yes, sir. I was investigating.
You have reasonable.
Do you want me to put you in handcuffs right now? Yes, sir, I do.
What is your suspicion?
It looks like you're carrying a gun in your back pocket. I'm stopping to make sure you're carrying it properly.
Am I detained?
Yeah, you are. What's your name and date of birth?
It does not matter.
Yes, sir, it does.
Do you have a crime?
Would you like me
Call
to
your
put you in?
supervisor,
He's
please.
right here.
I want your name and your badge number. You know what? Put him in jail for resisting.
Okay. All right, let's go.
Yeah, I think that's something. I don't think there needs to be an investigation. The guy wasn't being cooperative. They were making sure they saw this guy, thought he had a gun in his pocket. She said she was making sure he was carrying it properly. I don't know. That to me seems a little weird. But yeah, you start becoming agitated, you run the risk of putting handcuffs on you and going to jail. Just do it. If you just would have did what they said and not been a jerk about it. Oh, no, this isn't a gun. It's my walking stick. What do you? I mean, yeah, they sounded. The cops did sound a little arrogant there,
right?
But you gotta be forceful sometimes. I don't care if you're blind or not.
Especially if you think there's a weapon involved here,
right?
And listen, if you're being detained, that does not mean you're being arrested. Being detained just simply means, hey, we might put some handcuffs on you until we find out all the information, and then probably we'll just take them off and you can go on your way. People need to understand the difference between being arrested and detained.
Yeah, I really want to know. It goes back to the cops thinking he had a gun in his back pocket. Like, is that illegal? I mean, this is Florida, for God's sake.
Right. I don't know what Florida's gun laws are off the top of my head.
I'm sure there's not as many regulations as, say, Chicago or Los Angeles. Let's just put it that way. So can you stop somebody for thinking they have a gun in their pocket and just wanting to make sure they're carrying it properly? Is that a thing? I don't know.
I mean, would that be considered almost like a wellness check? Sir, your gun is really loose. It's about to fall out. Let's say you're carrying it on your back.
Yeah, all he would have needed to do was say, hey, it's just my walking stick. Calm down. I don't have a gun. But the guy had to be an a-hole about it.
Right.
I don't know.
Like if you watch enough of these programs, like the Live PD or the On Patrol Live, whatever it's called now, like most of the time, the officers are wanting you to just calm down so they can let you go. Things escalate when you become an a-hole to the police.
I'd like to know your opinion at Hammer and Nigel. Will the cops in the right? I mean, I know there's probably some hardcore libertarians that would listen to that and say, no, screw those police officers. They had no reason to pull this guy over. They had no reason to ask for this guy's ID. I'm under the impression, though, that I'm more on the cop side. I will probably lean more towards the police officer side every time, most of the time than not. And I just don't know about, hey, is that guy carrying the gun properly in his back pocket? Let's go talk to him. Yeah, but again, if the blind guy just would have said, oh, no, it's my walking stick.
If you just cooperate with the police, most of the time, things will go your way, honestly. Meanwhile, another blind man in the news for much better reasons.
Oh, really?
A partially blind man in Ohio ended up shooting a home intruder right square in the ass during a burglary attempt. Here's part of the 911 call where the victim of the home invasion tells the dispatcher that he shot the intruder.
Somebody broke in my back door. I got a shot off. He was coming right towards me. I fired a shot off. I don't know if it hit him or not.
I love these types of stories.
Yeah, and you never see him. You never really see him in mainstream media. A good guy with a gun stops an intruder. I mean, this would be a story everywhere just because the guy's partially blind.
Right.
Probably a better shot than I am.
How do you feel if you're the guy that broke into the house? Like, man, I broke into the blind guy's house and I still got shot.
You feel exactly, and you probably should feel relieved that you're still alive. That's what most of these guys do. People don't understand. There's a risk every time a criminal breaks into a house. You see it time and time again. You don't often see it highlighted in mainstream media, but more often times than not, a homeowner with a gun will kill you in the middle of the night. No questions asked. No, hey, put your hands up. No, who are you? No, get down on the floor. Trust me, I have neighbors that I know personally. I have family members that I know personally that if there was ever a problem, if there was ever a question, they would be asked later. Those questions will get asked eventually.
Right.
But just not at the moment when you break down somebody's door. It would be a pull the trigger first, and then, maybe I'll answer some questions after I call my lawyer.
You're getting the Dick Cheney treatment if you break into my house.
Yeah, right.
Shot to the face. I'm sorry, I thought you were a deer.
Yeah. So you got to be careful.
Is this anything? Alexander Tominski, a man from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, has taken upon himself to entertain the community by eating 40 rotisserie chickens in 40 days, Nige. Here's the coverage of the eating event and Tominski's official 40th rotisserie chicken by Philly sports blog hosts.
Going to an abandoned pier behind a Walmart to watch a guy eat his 40th consecutive rotisserie chicken in 40 days. Sometimes you just got to see a win.
3, 2, 1. You're an inspiration! You have the whole city behind you! One more fight! One more fight! Eating 40 chickens!
I'm glad the city of Philadelphia can finally come together and put their arms around something that can unify the city. That's a city that's crime-ridden, and they've got behind a guy that ate 40 rotisserie chickens in 40 days.
That's what the city needs. They were upset about what happened to the Phillies in the World Series,
yes.
But this man, Alexander Tominski, lifted the city, put him on his shoulders, and now it's him and the Eagles. The Eagles! That have everybody's attention. All right, what's a greater feat of athletic achievement? What this guy did with the rotisserie chickens, or what ESPN broadcaster Marty Smith did? Marty Smith officially broke the world record for the longest cornhole toss.
Yeah, like 70 feet or something.
76 feet.
76 feet.
This was right before the Georgia-Tennessee game.
I have 3 children I love dearly. I've been married to my beautiful wife, Lainey, for 23 years. And I adore them all so much, but there is nothing that I've ever experienced that created the euphoria of winning the Redneck Olympics.
I love Marty Smith. That's something for sure. Better than kids, better than marriage, better than seeing your firstborn child. He just won the Redneck Olympics. Yes, of course. I'd be proud too.
Cornhole world champion. It's the Hammer and Nigel show.
With inflation on the rise, you may be charging more to your credit card. But be careful. That increased debt can cause your credit score to suffer.
Don't get stuck with a low credit score and a mountain of high-interest credit card debt. Call Golden Oak Lending now.
Refinance with our low rates to wipe out your high-interest credit card debt and put extra cash in your pocket. Call 317-706-GOLD.
Golden Oak Lending cured my blues.
NMLS 114937.
The co-owner of B&W Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Drains is Beth Rovazzini, and she knows nothing in this world is free.
But you can win things. Somebody wins the lottery, somebody wins publisher sweepstakes, and now you can win a furnace, an American Standard Platinum 95 furnace.
To enter the sweepstakes, just call or text 317-868-7900 with a picture of your old furnace. The oldest will win, and everyone else will be eligible for a second chance drawing for a second furnace from B&W, your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Hey, Pat Sullivan here, letting you know when you need plumbing help, call who I call, my friends at Hope Plumbing. Not only are they experts in their field who respect the true value of customer service, they also love giving back to this community, which is evident in their new referral program. If you refer a friend, Hope Plumbing will give you and the referral a $50 gift card to a local restaurant. Great plumbing and supporting local restaurants. For more information, visit hopeplumbing.com.
If you run a small business, you need the most from every investment. That's why Comcast Business gives you more. Like more innovation with our new gig speed Wi-Fi, plus unlimited data. More speed from the largest, fastest, reliable network for small businesses. And more savings, up to 60% a year with Comcast Business Mobile. All from the company that powers more businesses than any other provider. When you need more, you need Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Get started with internet and advanced security for just $40 per month for 12 months with no annual contract when you add mobile. Plus, ask how to get a $750 prepaid card with a qualifying gig bundle. Ends 1/1/2023. Restrictions apply. Actual speeds vary. Compare pricing of top carriers. Requires EcoBill and AutoPay. Comcast Business Internet required. New Comcast Business 100 megabits per second internet and security edge customers only. Equipment taxes and other fees extra and subject to change. Must add mobile within 90 days of internet install and keep services for 12 months for discount. Results vary. Not an endorsement.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
An apartment fire in Indy. Sunny, 60 degrees in downtown Indianapolis. Radar is clear. Lows to the 40s tonight. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 4:31. Smoke could be seen billowing out of the Emerson Village apartment complex around 4:15 this morning on the southeast side. John Herrick reports.
It was from a fire that caused 20 people to not have a place to stay in the meantime.
Unclear what caused the fire. It was up in the attic space, or at least it appeared to have started somewhere on the second floor and gotten up into the attic space, so it had quite a head start on us before we got there.
Indianapolis Fire Department Battalion Chief Rita Wright says one firefighter had some heat exhaustion but will be okay. It was under control in about 30 minutes, but the building is badly damaged. No one in the apartment was hurt. John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Indy Metro Police say one person is dead after a shooting near a trailer park on Nightsong Drive on the southwest side near Lyndhurst Drive and Troy Avenue. Police haven't ID'd the victim, but they are believed to be in their 50s. IMPD said the shooting happened inside a home and may be domestic related. No arrests or suspects have been announced. Seattle police are investigating a shooting at Ingram High School in North Seattle this morning. Police Chief Adrian Diaz says one suspect is in custody, another person was hurt.
Officers immediately responded into the actual building and tried to provide treatment to the victim that was down.
The victim has life-threatening injuries. The school was on lockdown. This week is Winter Weather Preparedness Week, says the National Weather Service.
Here we are. It's getting to be almost the middle of November. Thanksgiving's around the corner. We have some colder weather coming up in our forecast.
Alex McGinnis with the National Weather Service in Indianapolis says it's smart to keep your car stocked up with things to keep you warm, maybe a blanket, and also don't let that gas tank get too low. With your stock report, the Dow was up 333 points to 33,160. The Nasdaq also up 51 points to 10,616, and the S&P 500 up 21 to 3,828. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 4:33.
One of the best things that has happened here in Indy over the past year is the arrival of QC Kinetics. Tony Katz here, and QC Kinetics is giving relief every day to folks here with chronic joint pain. They're using the latest advances in regenerative medicine, so they take the power of your body's own healing properties, right? The blood or plasma, and they concentrate them and apply them to your affected joint. The result can be mind-blowing. These regenerative treatments are designed to repair and restore your damaged joint tissue with no drugs, no surgery, no side effects, no steroids, and no downtime. The success rate is incredible, and they're growing fast. They started with one clinic. Now they have clinics in Eagle Creek, in Greenwood, and more on the way. Do not continue to live with that nagging joint pain. Discover the all-natural advanced options that we now have access to thanks to QC Kinetics. It's a free consultation. See what your options are. Call QC Kinetics now in Eagle Creek and Greenwood. 317-559-PAIN. That's 317-559-PAIN.
With traffic at 434, here's Dan Levy.
As we take a look at the area roadways, we start on 465 Southside, eastbound of Man. Vehicle fired, 2 right lanes are blocked. Traffic is stop and go from I-70, and on the reverse end, traffic is stacked up from Meridian as people are staring at that one. Good news, 69 southbound, that earlier crash at 465 has been cleared, but the delay is still there from 106. This report is sponsored by B-Window. Don't miss the annual B-Window Black Friday sale, up to 52% discount plus manufacturer's rebates. No payments, no interest for 18 months. BWindow.com. Dan Levy, follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Mostly clear skies remain in place for tonight. Low temperatures right around 40 degrees. Tomorrow, mostly sunny. High temperatures into the upper 60s. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Harrison Silcox on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
The Hammer and Nigel Show.
Let's turn on
93 WIBC.
All right, let's have a demonstration.
Yeah, so, Hammer, we were talking about long lines at polling stations here. Election day, midterms, 2022. My wife just texted me. She just got to the Zionsville Library, 40-minute wait.
Okay.
So that's substantially longer, than I waited when I early voted last Thursday at the town hall.
Now, speaking of libraries, we had a guy tweet at us at Hammer and Nigel, Nellis, the Hancock County Library, busier than expected, and he posted a photo that looks like a line stretching out the door and kind of winding around to like the parking lot. So that's going on. Plus, we're hearing Brownsburg and Columbus. Those places just slammed. So if you're in Brownsburg, if you're down in the Columbus area, let us know how it's going for you, what the wait time is right now. I know about an hour ago when we started the show, Brownsburg was about an hour to an hour and a half, maybe longer wait.
So James is our producer. How long did you wait?
I waited about an hour when I went in on Saturday.
Oh, Saturday?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, where was that at?
That was the Wells Community Church in Hendricks County, Brownsburg.
Okay. So Brownsburg, kind of a hotbed for activity on this midterm election day.
Maybe it's just like when you go, and especially when early voting. Some people like to go the day of. They don't mess around. It's like
I'm a day of guy.
It's like a routine. It's like a
tradition almost.
Tradition, yeah.
So that's me. In other news, Nige, man, I got sad news for you. Whoopi Goldberg is leaving Twitter.
No! like that one meme, that lady that found out Trump won the election. She's on her knees. She's got those glasses on. No!
Screaming at the sky. Whoopi Goldberg has announced she's leaving Twitter. She went on The View and said this.
So it has been a little over a week since Elon Musk took over Twitter, and the place it's a mess. He's already called back some of the workforce he fired a few days ago. He's putting his $8 charge for blue check verification on hold. First it was going to be $20. Now it's going to be $8. He also suspended Kathy Griffin for impersonating him on a parody account. Which has started a free Kathy hashtag to trend. I mean, I'm getting off. I'm getting off today because I just feel like, it's so messy, and I'm tired of now having had certain kinds of attitudes blocked, and now they're back on. And I'm going to get out, and if it settles down and I feel more comfortable, maybe I'll come back. But as of tonight, I'm done with Twitter.
I feel like Curly Bill in the movie Tombstone. Well, bye.
Right?
Who cares?
These people are so scared. They're so triggered by the concept of a fair and equal playing field. Right? Like, we could talk about free speech. We can have that conversation. They can't stand the fact that Twitter is going to be a little bit more balanced, a little bit more fair. So the same people who were applauding, standing up and being champions that Donald Trump was kicked off of social media and Alex Berenson was kicked off of social media are now completely freaked out that red-headed clown that looks like Ronald McDonald, Kathy Griffin, has been kicked off of Twitter.
Here are the celebrities so far that have left Twitter. I think we went over some of these a couple days ago. I'd not heard of any of them. Shonda Rhimes.
I have no idea who that is.
Sarah Bareilles.
Sarah Bareilles.
Sarah Bareilles.
Pop
You know who
star.
that is?
Yeah.
All right, she's off Twitter. And then, I remember I was talking about this. Taya Leone.
She was the hot chick in the Bad Boys movie.
Yeah.
With Martin Lawrence and Will Smith, I believe.
Yeah, so
that's it? Those are the stars? I thought you were going to tell me like Justin Timberlake and The Rock and Katy Perry. Taya Leone's the breadwinner in this group. Okay.
Yeah, not heard of a lot of these guys. Let's see. Mick Foley said he's taking a break from Twitter.
Mick Foley?
Because of the new ownership, the retired professional wrestler.
But is Mankind going to be on? Is Dude Love going to be gone? Is Cactus Jack going to be gone? That's my question. Wrestling fans would appreciate that. Kyle somewhere just had his head spin all the way around. So, again, it's all about having an equal playing field, and that freaks the political left out right now because Twitter has been their playground for a number of years. Now, Elon just blew out a lot of Twitter folks. He's hiring some of them back, but he just fired a bunch. Facebook apparently is about to do the same. This is a story from the Wall Street Journal. Meta Platforms, Inc., which is the kind of parent company of Facebook with Mark Zuckerberg, getting ready for large-scale layoffs, according to people familiar with the matter.
You're telling me people don't want to live in the metaverse?
The layoffs are expected to affect thousands of employees, and an announcement is planned to come as soon as tomorrow, according to the Wall Street Journal. Meta reported more than 87,000 employees at the end of September. Company officials already told a lot of employees cancel non-essential travel beginning this week.
So yeah, living in the metaverse didn't exactly pan out for Zucks.
Nope. That's his new Coke, man.
I tried the metaverse back there. It's pretty cool. I tried it last year. I mean, it was kind of, and my dad has that Oculus thing. And I've tried that, this headset that you put over your eyes, and you have a couple of handles that you hold on to, kind of like the Wii and for Nintendo. It's pretty cool. I was playing, the last time I was over at my dad's, I was playing Star Wars. I was flying around in a big, the Millennium Falcon and stuff like that. So that's a pretty cool, I don't know if what my dad has anything to do with Meta, but I have, experienced the metaverse before for like 10 minutes. It was kind of cool. I don't know that I'd sit there and live there all day and walk around.
Did you get into a lightsaber fight with anybody?
I don't have time. I don't have time to do that.
We have an update on a story that involves the armed forces, Nige. This is from the Air Force. The penis-shaped flight path near Russian base was not intentional. Have you heard about this story?
I thought I saw a headline somewhere. I thought it might have been a joke, but you're telling me this is real?
The Air Force has put out a statement. Despite what it might look like, the U.S. Air Force says a penis-shaped flight path made by a KC-135 near a Russian military base was not intentional. It left like a big smoke screen that looked kind of like a crank. Quote, "We're aware of the incident and are talking with the KC-135 crew to determine the details," says an Air Force rep. It goes on to say, "At this time, we do not believe the crew acted inappropriately, flying a refueling orbit consistent with requirements that met the needs of the receiver aircraft."
Okay. I'm looking for photos. I can't. There it is. That was on purpose.
That's a crank.
That's a crank right there. I mean, there's a middle. There's a Frank and Beans for sure. It's like how my 10-year-old would draw one.
If you're going to get through election night tonight, you're going to need something to drink. Let's talk about what libations can get us through tonight. We'll do that next.
I'd rather be folding laundry.
This is gonna be fun.
Said no one ever. Also, no one enjoys wasting time in traffic. That's why we love saving you time. Matt Baird Traffic.
Backups are already starting.
On 93 WIBC.
You can have a lot of fun when planning for retirement, your visions, your goals, what you want your life to look like. Is it a work optional lifestyle? There's also some complicated stuff, 401ks, 529s, the stock market ups and downs, and that's where you really need the help of the Singer Financial team.
Whatever your vision of retirement is, whether that's a work optional lifestyle, whether that's full-on retirement, living in Indy, living somewhere else, maybe being a snowbird, doing the winter months in Florida and then coming back. Whatever it is you're looking to do, the Singer Financial Group will customize a plan so you can turn that dream into a reality. Contact the Singer Financial Group today, located in Central Indy in Brownsburg, 852-9153. That's 852-9153, or go to singerfinancialgroup.com. Investment advisory services offered through registered investment advisors Howard Bailey Securities, LL3 and AE Wealth Management, LLC. Working with Singer Financial cannot guarantee investment success or that specific financial goals will be achieved.
This is Ryan again, owner of Plumbing Heating Paramedics. Paramedics know that timing is everything. And for us, mild weather this time of year means furnace sales are slower, which means you can take advantage of our best offer of the year. Now through December 10th, we are offering $2,500 off a new Trane furnace or air conditioner. A deal this strong allows us to keep our technicians busy and gives you the best deal of the year. Call to schedule your free home evaluation today or visit phparamedics.com for more details.
Afraid to look at your financial statements? Shredding them without opening them? It's time for a second opinion from Edelman Financial Engines. Our opinions aren't based on intuition or daily market movements. They're grounded in institutional rigor. And all of our planners are fiduciaries who put your interest above all others. So if you need help managing the ups and downs of this market, we're ready to talk. At Edelman Financial Engines, you get personalized investment recommendations from a dedicated wealth planner who doesn't sell products to earn commissions. So stop shredding those financial statements. Let's take a look together. It's time to get a second opinion. Get your complimentary wealth checkup where you can discuss your financial goals with a wealth planner. Call Edelman Financial Engines at 888-899-4450. That's 888-899-4450. Or visit efewealthplanners.com.
If you run a small business, you need the most from every investment. That's why Comcast Business gives you more. Like more innovation with our new gig speed Wi-Fi, plus unlimited data. More speed from the largest, fastest, reliable network for small businesses. And more savings, up to 60% a year with Comcast Business Mobile. All from the company that powers more businesses than any other provider. When you need more, you need Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Get started with internet and advanced security for just $40 per month for 12 months with no annual contract when you add mobile. Plus, ask how to get a $750 prepaid card with a qualifying gig bundle. Ends 1/1/2023. Restrictions apply. Actual speeds vary. Compare pricing of top carriers. Requires EcoBill and AutoPay. Comcast Business Internet required. New Comcast Business 100 megabits per second internet and security edge customers only. Equipment, taxes, and other fees extra and subject to change. Must add mobile within 90 days of internet install and keep services for 12 months for discount. Results vary. Not an endorsement.
Have an old furnace? Text the year your furnace was installed to B&W at 317-868-7900 and you could win one of 2 new furnaces right before Christmas. B&W is your American Standard Air dealer.
Inside Indiana Business Radio, the news you need to get ahead. Indiana's business news leader, weekdays at 6:32 a.m. and 5:56 p.m. on WIBC.
It's B-Windows Black Friday sale.
52% discount plus manufacturer's rebates and no interest, no payments for 18 months.
Trust me. Hey, we're pretty social people at WIBC. You can find us all over social media. See what we're up to on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and on YouTube. We're never more than just away. Just search for 93 WIBC.
Dan Levy's got to look at the roads.
Gentlemen, right now on 465 on the south end going eastbound, we had a vehicle fire. It's off on the right shoulder. The crews still have the right lane blocked. The fire is out, but traffic is stacked all the way as you approach that area. Again, a vehicle fire. It's out 465 south side eastbound in Man. The traffic is still jammed up from San Jose Expressway. This report is sponsored by Donate Life Indiana. Say yes to being an organ donor when you renew your hunting license online. Learn more at donatelifeindiana.org. I'm Dan Levy. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
60 degrees at the American Standard Heating Weather Center here at the Hammer and Nigel show. Nigel, we got a little activity taking place over here at the table behind you. What are we looking at?
Nolan, my man from Backbone Bourbon, is joining us. It was a couple of weeks ago. I walk into my office and I see this big bottle of bourbon that I'd never heard of this kind of bourbon before, but it was sitting in my office, and I'm like, who gave this to me? Where is this from? How did this get here? And now I meet the guy behind it, Nolan from Backbone Bourbon. Just made it. What did you just make us here, man?
We call it the IndyCar.
Hold on, turn this microphone on. There we go.
We call it the IndyCar.
The IndyCar.
Yeah.
Man.
It's a take on a sidecar, which is Scotch. But this is 2 ounces of bourbon, about 3/4 of an ounce of Grand Marnier or any kind of orange liqueur, and then a little bit of simple syrup with an orange peel.
This is the type of drink you're going to need to get through all of the stuff going on tonight. This is your I'm getting through midterms cocktail right here. So how did we get Backbone Bourbon? Tell us the backstory.
Well, we started in 2010. A majority of our whiskey comes from Indiana.
Awesome.
We're in 25 states, and Indiana's our biggest market.
My bottle that you gave me is already gone, by the way.
Well, good. That's what's supposed to happen. But
we're not a just hold it up for show kind of show.
Yeah.
We actually drink the stuff.
Love it. That's what it's for. But we think of Backbone as the biggest, baddest, boldest bourbon in Indiana.
It is bold.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I drink it straight.
Well, yeah.
I'll sip on it occasionally. Sometimes I'll shoot it, but it's really, really, really good.
Yeah.
Don't lie to people. I saw you drinking it out of the bottle in your office.
Well, you won't find the bottle there because that was last week and it's all gone now. But you may or may not have been right about that. So where are you from?
I'm originally from South Africa.
Okay.
Okay, because I was going to... Martinsville, Indiana was my second guess.
From the south, yeah, way south, South Africa. But I've been here since the late 90s. Went to Butler.
Okay.
And, I'm a Hoosier. I love it.
And you, by the way, Nolan from Backbone is wearing an I voted sticker. Where did you vote today?
I voted at 52nd and Central.
How was it? We've been talking about this all day long.
It was awesome.
It was a breeze?
I was in about 5 minutes, voted in about 3, and I was out.
Okay.
Okay, so with what we've got lined up for tonight, we're keeping an eye on local races, we're keeping an eye on national races. What are some cocktails we can make with Backbone Bourbon? You've already got us one here. What is this again?
We call it the IndyCar. Let me tell you a little story about it, if I could. But last May we were trying to come up with a cocktail, and month of May is great. And we wish that there would be a drink for the month of May. Kentucky has the mint julep for the race,
right?
And this is our take. If we had to come up with a drink, this is what we would enter for that cocktail. It's mainly bourbon, so it's not a very complicated.
You
cocktail.
sold me.
Okay, you're in.
It's mainly bourbon, and it's featured for the month of May. You had me right there. That's my you had me at hello moment right there.
The biggest, baddest, boldest. Baddest bourbon. So what's key there is the proof. So we think proof is the key to flavor. Traditionally, a lot of bourbons watered down to a lower proof. We leave the proof in there for the flavor. And so for cocktails, that higher proof actually helps. You can kind of feel the drink and the cocktail. It kind of gives it a little bit more. I hate to say it, more backbone.
Okay, I see what you did there. Hold your drink up to this camera here. So if you're watching us on the YouTube stream right now, Nolan, Big Nige, look at that beverage. Now, some folks come in and they bring bottles, and yes, we'll make our own drinks. But you've got like a whole cocktail station going on back here today. That looks so good.
Yeah. Well, cheers.
What's in this? One more time. We're here with Nolan from Backbone Bourbon, drinking a few cocktails for the midterm election coverage here. One more time, how do you make the IndyCar? Is that what it is?
Yep,
what
IndyCar. It's 2 ounces of bourbon, 3/4 of an ounce of any kind of orange liqueur. Grand Marnier is what I used, and then just maybe a half an ounce of simple syrup with an orange peel.
That's delicious.
Give it a shake.
It's delicious.
Where can we get Backbone Bourbon?
All the major retailers in Indianapolis carry it. We're also outside of Indy, up north, down south. You should be able to find it at your.
What is it about Indy? I mean, you said we're the biggest customer. You have the biggest customer base. What is it about this place?
We're based in Indy. We run the company from Indy.
Okay.
And then just about all the bourbon is made in Indiana. So it's a
what
home.
Cool. What's your official job title?
Job title?
Owner.
Yeah.
You're the owner, founder, and owner.
Yeah, I have a partner, co-founder, co-owner, but we started the brand in 2010.
What a cool gig, man!
So yeah, I love this country. This country's great for everybody. But when you're an immigrant, I have a kind of a soft spot for that. So
you mean you don't feel oppressed and hate this country? The news networks have been lying to us, Nigel. I can't believe it.
No, you guys.
I can't believe it.
No, it's. I think too much news is maybe not the best, but I love it. Every day here is great. I'm thrilled to be an American.
Well, I tell you what, man. If
cheers to that.
Yeah, if you're going to vote, absolutely. Which you got about an hour left. If you're stuck in line, maybe you're listening to us on your phone or whatnot. Go do your duty, vote, and on the way home, go grab some Backbone Bourbon, crank up WIBC, and let the results roll in.
Oh yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Cheers.
We've got more election coverage coming up next. This is the Hammer and Nigel Show.
What you've heard about probiotics is probably wrong.
I eat yogurt, so I don't need to take a probiotic.
Probiotics? They don't really work.
It's time to learn the truth about probiotics from Align, the probiotic brand recommended by gastroenterologists 2 times more than any other probiotic brand. Align has probiotics to naturally help relieve occasional bloating, gas, and abdominal discomfort. Try Align for a month and see how great a healthy gut can feel at AlignProbiotics.com.
Low T Center exclusively specializes in men's wellness, and they check all your levels. They check everything, including your PSA, which is your prostate. We're talking thyroid. We're talking liver and kidney function, cholesterol, glucose levels. They can even test you for stuff like sleep apnea, and yes, also testosterone levels. A lot of people talking about testosterone, but just do your homework and be sure to go to a provider that you can trust. The Hammer and Nigel Show recommends the Low T Center.
The Low T Center has affordable and convenient options for all types of treatments, including monitored self-inject treatments that ship directly to you each month. Make your health a priority, guys. Get that annual health assessment done at the Low T Center. It's covered by most health insurance or less than $100 cash pay. LowTCenter.com. That's LowTCenter.com. The Low T Center is reinventing men's health care.
A story of first downs and second chances. Meet former pro football player Michael Robinson.
I wanted to keep playing, but my feet hurt.
And all those big league experts couldn't help?
You have access to anything, but none of it worked.
Finally, he got fitted with Good Feet arch supports.
Let me tell you something. They work.
Now, he recommends Good Feet to
anybody. If you move, go to the Good Feet store.
Sign up for your free fitting at goodfeet.com. The children's music and dance teacher who couldn't cha-cha.
I was always on my feet. It was just so painful.
Elisa couldn't let her students down, so she stepped up and went to the Good Feet store for personally fitted arch supports.
I would work an entire day, and my feet didn't hurt at the end of the day. That was when I knew, wow, these are different.
But the really good part?
It's good to be dancing together again.
Stop by or schedule your free fitting at goodfeet.com.
Come in for a free fitting, no appointment needed. The Good Feet store, in the north, near Keystone at the Crossing or in Greenwood.
Does runaway inflation and reckless spending in Washington have you worried about the security of your hard-earned retirement savings? If so, it's time to call the precious metal experts at Fisher Capital. Fisher Capital specializes in helping investors like you diversify their retirement portfolio and preserve wealth with physical gold and silver. Whether you're looking to acquire coins or bars, open a gold IRA, or just want to learn more about the advantages of owning precious metals, Fisher Capital will equip you with the knowledge you need to make an informed decision that's right for you and your family. Call Fisher Capital today at 800-376-4333. That's 800-476-4333. Mention WIBC when you call to get a free, no-obligation investor kit. 800-376-4333. 800-376-4333. Past performance does not guarantee future results. Don't lose another night's sleep worrying about the security of your retirement savings. Call Fisher Capital. 800-376-4333.
Start saving with Comcast Business Mobile, all on the most reliable 5G network. Most reliable based on Root Metrics U.S. report. Results vary, not an endorsement.
School buses are densely packed spaces with poor ventilation, making the school bus the weakest link in a school's efforts to reduce disease transmission. Go to schoolbusair.com to learn more.
Coming up in 2 minutes, John Herrick reports on a fire on the southeast side of Indy, and IMPD is looking for a mother and daughter who are missing. All that and more after Fox News Radio from the Shepherd Community Center studios. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 5 o'clock.
Time's running out to vote. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. The first poll closings begin an hour from now in parts of Indiana and Kentucky, but the counting could last for days in some states, including Pennsylvania, home to the close Senate race between Democratic Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman and Republican Dr. Mehmet Oz, and where there's an ongoing legal challenge.
The Pennsylvania Supreme Court ruled ballots sent by voters who forget or misdate their ballots should not count. And yesterday, the Fetterman campaign filed a lawsuit arguing that they should. It's not clear how many ballots the court's order will invalidate, but in Philadelphia, there were long lines yesterday. Some 3,500 people were contacted and told to come in to fix mistakes on their mail-in ballots.
Fox's Brian Yennis. Meantime, the Board of Elections in Philadelphia deciding earlier today to reinstate a security procedure aimed at catching double votes, expected to add more time to the counting process there. The candidates in Georgia's top two races for Senate and governor are hoping to avoid runoffs. A candidate needs more than 50% of the vote to do that. More than one issue getting Georgia voters to the polls.
So for me, this election was really a one-issue election, and it was about abortion rights.
The important is to get this inflation under control. It's pretty bad. You don't.
It's bad.
Money don't go anywhere anymore.
With control of Congress hanging in the balance, many Republican candidates have blamed the president's policies for high inflation, while the Biden administration has argued democracy must be protected from election deniers.
Our democracy is not perfect. It never will be perfect. It is very much a work in progress.
State Department spokesman Ned Price. Meantime, Homeland Security officials today reporting no activity that would question the integrity of the election infrastructure around the country. America is listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
A fire on the southeast side, 59 degrees, mostly sunny downtown. A few clouds expected tonight with a low of 42. I'm Harrison Silcox for the Michaelis Corporation. Here's what's trending at 5:02. Smoke could be seen billowing out of the Emerson Village apartment complex around 4:15 this morning on Indy's southeast side. John Herrick reports.
It was from a fire that caused 20 people to not have a place to stay in the meantime.
Unclear what caused the fire. It was up in the attic space, or at least it appeared to have started somewhere on the second floor and gotten up into the attic space, so it had quite a head start on us before we got there.
Indianapolis Fire Department Battalion Chief Rita Wright says one firefighter had some heat exhaustion but will be okay. It was under control in about 30 minutes, but the building is badly damaged. No one in the apartment was hurt. John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Police in Indianapolis are looking for a missing mom and daughter. 24-year-old Savannah Mason and her 3-month-old Paris Hayes Jr. were last seen Monday, October 31st on Rockville Road on the west side. Mason is white, 5'9" with brown hair and brown eyes. She may be in need of medical attention, say police. If you know anything, call IMPD. Indy Metro Police say one person is dead after a shooting near a trailer park Tuesday on Night Song Drive on the southwest side near Lyndhurst Drive and Troy Avenue. Police have not identified the victim, but they are believed to be in their 50s. IMPD says the shooting happened inside a home and could have been domestic related. No arrests or suspects have been announced. Several companies are investing billions of dollars worth of electric vehicle production into the Hoosier State. Governor Eric Holcomb tells Inside Indiana Business he hears the criticisms of electric vehicles, but doesn't agree.
I would say, not to be derogatory, but you're kind of living in a fantasy world if you don't think the market is responding to demand.
Stellantis and Samsung have committed to building a $2.5 billion EV battery plant in Kokomo. After 8 years of being a fugitive on the run, one man is finally behind bars for embezzlement. Jody Trapp stole over $2 million from Shelton Machinery in Fishers, then ran away before his trial in 2013. U.S. Marshals eventually found and caught him in Utah under a different name. After being sent back to Indianapolis, he finally pled guilty, getting over 7 years in prison and ordered to pay back the money he took to his victims. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 5:04.
Basements get a bad rap. Probably because so many of them are wet, leaky, and musty. Thanks to screenwriters, crawl spaces aren't very popular either. Michaelis is putting an end to the horror show. Their time-tested waterproofing systems eliminate and prevent water issues. Damp and moldy becomes clean and healthy. And their French drains, vapor barriers, and encapsulation techniques turn crawl spaces into a Disney set. Yeah, okay, that probably went a bit far. But with over 35 years experience, they have a lot of homeowners enjoying their basements again. Think Michaelis. And think how nice it would be to get rid of foundation cracks, basement leaks, damp smells, and all the nightmares that come with them. Water, storms, fire, and foundations. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Call 844-FIX-INDY. Make it Michaelis.
With traffic at 5:05, here's Dan Levy.
Still pretty nasty on 465 on the south side. Eastbound and man, we had a vehicle fire. The right lane is still blocked as they are continuing to clean that up. Traffic, however, is jammed from Sam Jones Expressway. And on the westbound side, it's heavy from Meridian to Man. Everybody's still kind of staring at as to what's going on. But the good news is tow trucks are there. That should be clear here within the next several moments or so, we hope. This report is sponsored by Wendy's $3 breakfast deal. Right now at Wendy's, enjoy the $3 breakfast deal. Choose between the bacon or sausage, egg, and Swiss croissant, and get a small seasoned potatoes for just $3. Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours. I'm Dan Levy. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Mostly clear skies remain in place for tonight. Low temperatures right around 40 degrees. Tomorrow, mostly sunny. High temperatures into the upper 60s. I'm Wish TV's Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Harrison Silcox, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hammer and Nigel.
Can you believe these characters are weirdos?
On 93 WIBC.
So let's rock it!
Yeah, you got an hour to go. Hour till an hour to vote. We've been talking all afternoon long about how long lines have been at various polling places across the city. I got a text from my barber, Miss Connie. She did early voting in Brownsburg last Wednesday, waited over 30 minutes, and the poll worker said it had been that busy every day, open to close, bigger than the presidential election 2 years ago.
I've heard that from a couple people. Now, some people have said they've gotten right in and out. That was my experience earlier today on the south side. But what we're hearing from Brownsburg, like apparently somebody sent us a message here, voting at Lucas Oil Raceway, the line is 2 hours long.
Whoa.
They only have 5 stations apparently that are open. So if you're in line, you still get to vote. So just because 6 o'clock rolls around doesn't mean they tell everybody to go home at that point. If you're in line, stay there. You still get a chance to vote.
My stepmom was working at a polling station, and she said average wait time there, I think it was in Plainfield or Avon, was about a half hour. And then my dad said a long line at Crossroads Church in Avon. So I'm just trying to get a sense of how many people are out there voting today, and if it's, I'm wondering what kind of turnout this is going to be when we have the final tally.
It feels like the more people that vote, the better that is for the conservatives and Republicans. Because the way midterms traditionally work, the angry group comes out. Right? The complacent group comes out, but it's not as fired up. Midterms, usually you see the Empire strike back, so to speak. The other side come out in droves because they're not happy about what happened in the last election, or in this case, what's gone on in this country the last 2 years. And there's not one specific topic that's driving. Like, economy is number one, but you've got crime, you've got what's happening in your schools, you've got a number of different things that people are pretty passionate about. And that's why they're willing to wait in line for 2 hours.
And then after the first 2 years of Obama's presidency, the Democrats got hammered.
Correct.
In the midterms, right?
Right. So that's normal. But honestly, man, it feels like, and we'll talk about this later, the pressure is clearly on the Republicans. Because if you can't win the House and the Senate after these last 2 years of what's gone on in this country, man, there's no hope. If you can't win the Senate after a recession, ridiculous crap in schools, crime, all that kind of stuff, a wide open border, fentanyl, if you can't take back the House and the Senate, that's on you because the material is there.
You have to realize, though, that if you do take back the House and the Senate, then it's still Joe Biden vetoing many, many, many bills that come across his desk. Right?
It is.
But it's also a referendum on his presidency in 2024. And I'm sure if we see this tidal wave of Republicans, of governors, of senators and House members, if we see this tidal wave, Joe Biden ain't running in 2024.
No.
You can take that to the bank because he's already announced his intention to run in 2024.
Which was cute.
Yeah, yeah.
As they would say in the South, bless his heart.
Yeah, but it truly is a referendum on the Biden administration.
Meanwhile, locally, all eyes are on the Marion County prosecutor's race. I'm curious to see what heavy voter turnout means for this race. Is this good news for Cindy Carrasco? Or is this going to be Democrats coming out in droves because they've got a supermajority in terms of registrations in Marion County? Is this going to be a Ryan Mears blowout? So I'm really interested to see what kind of numbers come in with this prosecutor's race.
It's like I get these different, like I texted a guy in the media I know that leans liberal, and I go, so what do you think is going to happen with the prosecutor's race in Marion County? He says he thinks it's going to be Mears big. But then we talked to our guy, Abdul, here, who is no friend of the Republican Party, so to speak. He's more establishment. He says it's going to be very close, he thinks, just in terms of fundraising and even some of the signage that he's seen in unusual places for Cindy. So I don't know.
So the question becomes, is Indianapolis having a public safety crisis or not? Ryan Mears was asked about that at one of the debates he had with Cindy Carrasco.
And there's going to be a lot of discussion today about the prosecutor's office and the role of the prosecutor's office in our community. But one of the things that we can never lose sight of is what are the root causes of these issues? What causes someone to be involved in violent crime? What causes someone to be a victim in violent crime? What are those root causes? Is it poverty? Is it addiction? Is it mental health issues? And so, those are the challenges that need to be addressed and to be examined. No one's happy with where the numbers are as it relates to violent crime.
Talk about root causes all you want, but while you're talking about root causes, can you at least keep the violent criminals in jail?
Right. The guy that had 20 plus felonies that shot somebody. Can we make sure that he's not out?
I would love to know. Yeah, I'd love to get down to the root cause and see why so many people are acting the way they are and are so violent and are killing people in homicide. Yeah, we probably need to address that. But at the same time, we don't need to be letting them back out.
Right.
To commit the same crimes again.
Listen, there's never going to be a situation where Marion County, specifically Indianapolis, is not going to have crime. But if you could just remove the violent habitual offenders, a big chunk of these numbers are going to go down.
Absolutely.
A big chunk of these numbers are going to go down. Around the nation, I'm interested in Pennsylvania. And I know their polls close, I believe, at 7 o'clock tonight. And we're probably not going to know who wins that for a couple of weeks because this is where we're at now in this country on Election Day. It's not Election Day anymore. It's like a month, election month. But Dr. Oz against Fetterman, this could be the state that decides who's got the power in the U.S. Senate. Which state do you want to keep your eye on, Nige?
Well, I think it's just the same in Georgia. Georgia race could determine the balance of the Senate as well. I think that Kemp is just, in terms of polling and what we've seen leading up to the election, Kemp, the guy that's got a big truck to round up some illegals.
One of the great campaign commercials of all time.
I think he was leading big. Stacey Abrams is a disaster, and I think can you really have an influx of people voting for Kemp for governor, but not Herschel Walker for Senate in Georgia?
Right.
Does that make sense to you? Maybe not. It's neck and neck.
Is that a Fetterman joke?
I was going to say, I tried to tie that into Fetterman somehow because we already talked about Pennsylvania.
So what happens tomorrow after Beto and Stacey Abrams both lose? Like, what are they going to run for next? Because they're career politicians. Beto doesn't want to get a real job because he's a weirdo. Stacey Abrams, she thinks she's running for re-election tonight instead of election. She's about to lose twice to the same guy. Is this going to be it for their political careers, or are they going to keep coming back for more?
I don't know. They're going to come back for more. I mean, who endorsed Beto? That was didn't Oprah just endorse Beto and Fetterman?
Right.
Which was kind of a slap in the face of Dr. Oz, and she brought Dr. Oz to prominence.
LeBron James just endorsed Raphael Warnock of Georgia. Not that he can vote in Georgia or has, I guess some people would say that that's a big deal.
I'm endorsing Zeldin for governor in New York. That's who I'm endorsing.
I'm endorsing Cindy Carrasco here in Indianapolis. That's my endorsement. But listen, at the end of the night, the Dems are going to try to spin this as we can't let those bloodthirsty, violent, MAGA extremist Republicans win. Here's a little checklist of what's gone on during the midterm campaign. You had Lee Zeldin get an assassination attempt. You had a North Carolina House candidate shot with kids at home.
Oh, yeah, Harrigan. Yeah, that was crazy.
An Arizona governor candidate, Carrie Lake, white powder was sent to her office. The Michigan GOP chair was bitten by an angry teacher at a rally. Ted Cruz had a beer can thrown at him at the World Series parade. But again, it's all about those bloodthirsty, violent, MAGA extremists. They could storm the Capitol at any moment. They might be doing it right now. We don't know. So I cast my vote earlier. Score one for the extremists, Nige. I voted against all the lunacy. Now, if you're still in line, stay there. If you're on your way to vote, go. Cast those votes. And once you get there before 6, you are allowed to vote. It's kind of like basketball. If the ball leaves your hand and then the horn goes off, sure, it still counts if it goes through the hoop. So that's the way that the voting lines work. And here's a little mood music from Hammer and Nigel Records to get you into the spirit of the midterm elections.
Votes, it doesn't matter who votes. It's what you gotta do. Votes, you gotta get out there and vote. When I was younger, so much younger than today, I never cast a vote or cared about it anyway. But now the world has changed, I don't know what to do. Either way I vote, I think the country's pretty screwed. Help me if you can, I cannot choose.
Turn it up.
And I don't know who should win and who should lose.
Oh, I do.
I wish the candidates could hand out booze.
Yeah.
Won't you VOTE or don't complain to me?
A little mood music from Hammer and Nigel Records.
Very nice.
Dan the Man Levy. Bass is in your face with a look at the roads.
Gentlemen, right now, 465. We're keeping our eyes on this one southside eastbound of Man. We had a vehicle fire. Fire is out, but the right lane is still blocked with emergency equipment. Traffic is heavy from Washington. And on the flip side of that, traffic is heavy from Meridian to Man. People are still looking at what already took place. This traffic report is sponsored by News Nation. Chris Cuomo joins News Nation. Cuomo, now weeknights at 8 p.m. Eastern on News Nation. Go to newsnationnow.com to find your channel. I'm Dan Levy. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
Base, do you still have a podcast? Are you in that world still up there in Chicago?
LevyCast is still in effect.
LevyCast.
You get some big-time dudes on that thing. Like, I'm a sports fan. I'm a baseball fan. I think it's cool that you hang out with one of the Boone brothers on the regular.
One of the Boone brothers, I produce his podcast. So, yeah, he comes to town, and now I get free Yankees tickets. So it's pretty nice.
That's a contact to have, man. That's awesome.
It's decent. It's decent. We go out to dinner. He's sitting there signing baseballs for people. It's a new thing for me.
Right now, we got 59 at the American Standard Heating Weather Center. More election coverage coming up.
If today were the last day of your life, would you want to do what you're about to do today? As time marches on, the inescapable movement of the clock can change our perspective on life and our daily purpose. We all get there someday. In recent years, families I work with often ask, "What happens to me, Brian, if something happens to you or you decide to retire?" Every day I ask myself, does this still feel like a purpose that I look forward to, or is this starting to feel like a job? This is Brian Singer with Singer Financial. I feel blessed to still love what I do, but someday my purpose might shift to playing pickleball 24/7. CNBC reports that 73% of financial advisors lack a formal succession plan. That means that nearly 3 out of 4 advisors may be contemplating their own retirement with no transitional support for the clients who may have trusted them for years or decades. Fiduciary advisors put clients' best interests first. At Singer Financial, that means knowing how the individuals, couples, and families we work with will be taken care of for many more years beyond my retirement, unexpected disability, or death. Great things in business are never done by one person. They're done by a team of people. I'm excited to share that Singer Financial is now a part of Howard Bailey Financial, an Indiana-based retirement planning firm. We believe our integration with the Howard Bailey team is a giant step forward in our mission to be the last financial team you would ever need or want. Howard Bailey is a growing firm with a youthful, energetic founder and a cutting-edge planning process designed to help you transition into a work-optional lifestyle someday. Call us at 317-852-9153 to schedule a discovery visit and talk about your someday. If you're ready to plan for your best retirement, we should get together.
Investment advisory services offered through registered investment advisors Howard Bailey Securities, LLC, and AE Wealth Management, LLC. Working with Singer Financial cannot guarantee investment success or that specific financial goals will be achieved.
Yeah, Mark Dietel is the only real estate agent we trust. Melinda trusted him in Indianapolis. They heard about Mark Dietel on our show. Melinda said her kids were all gone, time to downsize, time to move into a more manageable place. She called Mark, and they over-delivered beyond her expectations. The home was not an easy sale, but Mark was relentless and sold it in weeks at the price that Melinda needed.
Look, there are a lot of options in the real estate game, but there's only one realtor that we trust on the Hammer and Nigel show. The only agent that's giving you the guarantee of an offer in 3 days at full market value, or he will list it for free. That agent is Mark Dietel. Contact Mark Dietel today and get that guarantee. 317-755-4232. Or go online to markdietel.com. That's Mark, D-I-E-T-E-L. markdietel.com. Tell him Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Smith & Wesson is committed to empowering Americans no matter what. With inflation hitting everywhere, we've decided to make a change. Now, you can buy a Smith & Wesson Shield Plus, our most popular concealed carry firearm, at an all-new low price, $100 off MSRP. We're absorbing the costs and passing along the savings to you so you don't have to compromise on personal security. Visit smithandwesson.com to find a Shield Plus near you. Smith & Wesson, always expect the best.
The next time you visit your healthcare provider, we'll ask you about your race, ethnicity, and preferred language. Why do we ask? We ask because we care. Providing you with the highest level of care requires that we know all we can about you. Not only will this help us take better care of you, it will also help us learn more about our community and the additional services we can provide to keep Indiana as healthy as possible. This message is brought to you by Indiana University Health, Eskenazi Health, and Community Health Network.
Who is running your business anyway? Let Teltex's local professionals help you with your business internet, VoIP, and remote work needs. For a free review, visit ttibiz.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by B&W Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Drains, your American Standard air dealer.
You're listening to the Hammer and Nigel Show on 93 WIBC.
Welcome to the midterms, everybody. Election coverage all evening long here on 93 WIBC. I'm Nigel. Jason Hammer is here. Daylight saving time ended, when was that, Sunday?
Right.
And so if you're still feeling a little drowsy, the good news is a poll found this should be the last day that you feel that way. 2,000 people asked how long it takes them to adjust to shifting the clocks. The average answer is about 66 hours. It's a couple days plus another 18 hours. Now, my question for you, Hammer, with spring forward, fall back, we got an extra hour. I slept in on Sunday. I don't feel groggy at all. Do people normally feel tired in the fall when this happens?
I don't know. Normally, you'd think that would be like in the spring.
In the spring, when you lose
that
an hour.
Right.
Yeah, I definitely. My kids, everybody's messed up.
The only reason I could think that people might be a little groggy is because it gets dark so early. And subconsciously, you're probably thinking, oh my God, it's late. It's so dark. It's got to be 10, 11 o'clock. You look outside and it's 7.
Which would you rather have? Early morning hour, lighter early morning hours, or darker? I like it both ways, I guess is what I'm saying. I like the best of both worlds. In the summer, I like it when it stays light out later. But in the winter, I don't really care.
I like it when the sun is up longer. Like, I hate driving home and it's dark already. Like, that's my thing.
It'll be dark by the time we get done with the show tonight.
It's bizarre because I'm looking up at our TV screens here we've got in studio, and Fox News, which is headquartered in New York City, they're on the East Coast. They're doing the 5 right now with our pal Jesse Waters, and the background, it's dark.
Oh, sure. Yeah, the East Coast, it's already dark.
It's already dark on the East Coast. It's 5:25. It blows my mind that in the summertime, like my kids' baseball games wouldn't even be starting for another 5 minutes.
Wow.
So I don't know, man. I'm a guy that likes the sun to be out a little later. I like, to sit on my patio after work, get home. It's 8:30, have a beverage or two, sit there with the fam, see the sunset, especially when you go on vacation. If you ever go somewhere by the water, like, we kind of vacation in the same area, Nige. Last time I went to St. Pete, we stayed at this hotel where you get up on the rooftop and there's the pool and the bar, and to see that sun set down into the water, about 8:45, 8:50, it's awesome. I'm down for that. Here are a few other quick stats from that survey about daylight saving time. And by the way, there's no S. It's not daylight savings time. Yeah. You're a savings time guy,
No,
aren't
I said
you?
saving.
Okay.
I knew it was saving.
Okay. 2/3 of us hope this is the last time that we fall back. 66% think that shifting the clocks back and forth should be abolished one way or the other.
Well, we didn't have it for a while in Indy. We didn't have this for a long time. I forget when it changed, but it hasn't always been this way.
Right. And still in Indiana, there are a couple counties that are on different time zones. So, like, let's say in about 34 minutes, the polls close for most of Indiana, but there's a couple counties that are on Central Time to where technically they're open until what would be 7 o'clock our time. And there's a number of states that have different time zones in them.
Okay, 2006. Before 2006, most of Indiana did not observe daylight saving time.
Okay.
So it's been recently here in the past 15, 20 years.
Here's one that's interesting to me. And again, this is a survey about daylight saving time. About 40% hope that the bill that passed in the Senate takes effect this year. Now, the bill they're talking about was one that was rolled out by Marco Rubio.
That's right.
And he actually got bipartisan support on this bill.
I ask unanimous consent that the Rubio substitute amendment at the desk be considered and agreed to.
Is there objection? Without objection, so ordered.
Thank you, Madam President. And as the day goes on, I look forward to others will be coming to the floor here in a moment. You'll see it's an eclectic collection of members of the United States Senate in favor of what we've just done here in the Senate, and that's to pass a bill to make a daylight savings time permanent.
It passed unanimously through the Senate. Now, think about that. The Republicans, the Democrats, they don't agree on anything, exception being daylight savings time and how bad it sucks. It passed unanimously through the Senate, but it's sitting in the House.
So wait a minute. So if it passes and Biden signs it, there would be no fall backwards. It would technically be 6:30 right now.
So once Biden signs this, if that happens, it goes one full cycle and then we never touch the clocks again. So let's say that after, March or April, when we spring forward, if Biden signs that, it's one more full cycle and then the clocks stop.
Interesting.
No more time change. It passed unanimously through the Senate, but of course the House has gotten squirrely. It's a big mess in the House.
Probably not the most, the most dire of things we need to be paying attention to in Congress right now.
Right. Maybe they could put $1 billion to Ukraine in there and it will get some attention. Maybe it'll get some attention then. All right. Harrison Silcox is standing by in the WIBC News Center.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
A child predator behind bars. 57 degrees. Sun is setting in downtown Indianapolis. Radar is clear. Some clouds move in later with a low of 42. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 5:29. An Indianapolis man will be in prison for more than 12 years after having and transporting child pornography. Sasha Nixon reports.
Brian Greenlee pled guilty to transportation of child sexual abuse material, according to the Department of Justice. Police first looked into his crimes in January of 2021 after he had been arrested for a different incident in Hendricks County. After searching Greenlee's phone and more, officers found numerous sexually explicit images and videos of children. They also learned that he had sent links to some of this content to others. Some of the kids were as young as 6 months. Sasha Nixon, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Police in Indianapolis are looking for a missing mom and daughter. 24-year-old Savannah Mason and her 3-month-old Paris Hayes Jr. were last seen Monday, October 31st on Rockville Road on the west side. Mason is white, 5'9", with brown hair and brown eyes. She may be in need of medical attention, say police. If you know anything where the two might be, call IMPD. Officials in Arizona say they have fixed an earlier tabulation problem that happened around 60 voting centers today. County officials in Phoenix said technicians have changed the printer settings, which seems to have fixed the issue. They also said some printers at voting locations were not producing dark enough timing marks on the ballots. Ahead of today's midterm election, President Joe Biden and other Democrats have warned voters of threats to democracy. State Department spokesperson Ned Price admitted Tuesday democracy comes with its flaws.
Our democracy is not perfect. It never will be perfect. It is very much a work in progress. It is very much something that we are striving to continually improve.
Republicans claim Democrats were trying to paint them as threats to democracy as a way to retain power in Congress. Your full election coverage can be heard tonight on 93 WIBC. Coverage starts at 7 p.m. This week is Winter Weather Preparedness Week, says the National Weather Service.
Here we are. It's getting to be almost the middle of November. Thanksgiving's around the corner. We have some colder weather coming up in our forecast.
Alex McGinnis with the National Weather Service says keep your car stocked up with things to keep you warm. Maybe have a shovel, and also don't let your gas tank get too low. With traffic at 5:31, here's Dan Levy.
And as we take out a look at the roads, good news. Right now, 465 as you're making your way going on the south side, going eastbound at Man. That vehicle fire is now gone. However, traffic is still stacked from Washington, and that is starting to thin out as we speak. Otherwise, other delays, 465 making your way on the west side northbound. Delays continue 86 into 865. This report is sponsored by B Window. Don't miss the annual B Window Black Friday sale up to 52% discount plus manufacturer's rebates and no payments, no interest for 18 months. BWindow.com. I'm Dan Levy. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Mostly clear skies remain in place for tonight. Low temperatures right around 40 degrees. Tomorrow, mostly sunny. High temperatures into the upper 60s. I'm Wish TV's Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Harrison Silcox, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Hey, Tony! Hey, Tony! Hey!
Pretty boy, Tony.
It's Tuesday with Tony Katz on the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Don't want to keep Tony waiting.
The election coverage continues here on 93 WIBC, as it will all night long. My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer is here. And we're going to hook up live with Tony Katz from Tuesdays with Tony. Tony, we had Cindy Carrasco, GOP, race for prosecutor here in Marion County. I told her I thought it was the most important race in the state. And I know there's statewide elections like Secretary of State, Senate. What do you think is the most important race in Indiana before we kind of expand outward and look at the nation?
I don't know if I have anything that is particularly the most important race. I think that this race for prosecutor is extremely important. So what is it that the people of Marion County want? Do they want to vote for the RRD after the name, or do they want something better than what they have right now? Do they want something that works? If they're not happy what they have to be asking themselves what they can do about it. And if they're told that they can't do anything about it because, after all, you can't vote for somebody with an R after the name or whatever the case may be, well, then this is what they're stuck with. And it seems to me that they shouldn't be people who put themselves in a position to be stuck with anything. That seems silly.
So, Tony, you were on the air this morning when the polls opened up statewide across Indiana. What was some of the feedback you were getting? Did it feel like there was excitement for Hoosiers to go vote today? What kind of feedback did you get?
So a couple of things. I mean, I went to the polls after the morning show. I figured there were like 20 plus people ahead of me in line when my wife and I got there. And then when we got to the front of the line, there were maybe 40 plus people behind me. Is it the most I've ever seen in a polling place? I can't recall. But I didn't look around to see what the energy was. I'm usually just trying to stay very much out of the way. Let me vote, let me leave. I'm not interested in conversation. I'm not interested. How's your day? My day is none of your business. I just want to vote, and then I want to move on. Like that's totally it. I don't know if it was excitement, right? I haven't heard of real problems in Indiana like we've heard about these issues with the ballots in Maricopa County, which is where Phoenix is in Arizona, and those issues. So I would say to you that so far everything seems so good, but if the amount of people is the conversation about enthusiasm, then yeah, I've seen a whole bunch of people.
Any other races nationwide that are on your radar that maybe people generally aren't paying attention to?
I think that we're all so very dialed in because this is about control of the Senate, and already we know we're going to get control of the House. Republicans are going to control the House is how I should say that. I don't think I've been paying undue attention to that Pennsylvania race. I don't think I've been paying undue attention to the Arizona Senate race or that New Hampshire Senate race, which is still fascinating to me. I think the Oklahoma governor's race, where Kevin Stitt, was in a bad spot and was losing in that Oklahoma race to Joy Hoffmeister, and then the stories about Hoffmeister, whether it be about policing or some other issues, have started to come to the surface, and this has really had an effect on her. And Hoffmeister is somebody who was a Republican, then switched to the Democratic Party. And wait, was she? Yeah, I think it was her. I think it was her who did that. So it became this real fascinating kind of race going on there. I think Stitt pulls it out, which I'd be happy to see. But that's a race that I'm paying attention to.
So you mentioned Pennsylvania. Let's go back to Pennsylvania for just a moment, because we're already hearing that, well, it might be 3-4 days until we find out what's going on. Could be weeks until we get a conclusion on what's happening in Pennsylvania. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court has already stated that if there are no dates on those mail-in ballots, you got to throw them out. They do not count. But the Fetterman team, they're kind of laying the groundwork to challenge that. I want to get your thoughts on what we're hearing from Pennsylvania.
A couple of things, and I've got people somehow thinking that I didn't address this properly. The Philadelphia conversation, where they're upset that they have to actually compare who's on the voter rolls and who voted in person to who voted absentee to make sure people haven't voted twice. Like somehow that's a problem. Philadelphia and Pennsylvania as a whole have gone about this idea, or people have gone about the idea that somehow the votes there are going to take forever to count because of their rules. For a lot of people, that's indicative of a problem because it breeds the opportunity for fraud. And people are concerned. There's a lack of faith. There's a lack of trust. We know this. But I think the bigger story here is what you're talking about, Hammer, that the Fetterman campaign is suing as of today to say just because someone didn't date something right or sign something right doesn't mean that their vote shouldn't count. But rules are rules. If we don't have rules, what do we have? And their answer is, yeah, we don't care about rules. We care about trying to guilt you into accepting that vote, even though that vote is improper. It's rather obscene. And it's exactly the kind of theft, the kind of opportunity for theft that we are wholly opposed to and we don't want to have happen. But Pennsylvania Democrats seem totally fine with it. Totally fine with it. And it is absurd.
Pennsylvania, a place known for its fracking and its coal industry. You have Joe Biden over the weekend saying, yeah, we're going to end coal. Yeah, we're just going to end it. It had, guys like Manchin from his own party criticizing him. I mean, what was Joe Biden thinking, or was he, or do you...
Wait. Hold on a second. You lost me. You almost sounded like Joe Biden there for a second.
What do you mean?
What did he say?
He said he's done with coal. Didn't he play that clip over the weekend?
Oh, good Lord.
He said he's done
that's right. That's right.
He's going to end it in drilling.
Yes, we're no longer going to have coal. We're going to be reliant on wind and solar. 4 days before an election where Pennsylvania's on the line, we're done with coal. He is a special kind of stupid. And I hate to use the expression, but I assume I'm quoting somebody else. I'm quoting probably Oscar Goodman, the former mayor of Las Vegas, when I say that. The way that the administration tried to clean up what he said. These are embarrassing people in embarrassing times, and we should note that solar and wind don't work. If they worked, that'd be great, but they don't work. So we have to stop pretending that they do work and recognize that while it may be coal, it may be fracking, it may be oil, it may be a mix of all three. It could be hydrogen and nuclear for all I know. Only thing I know for sure is that it's not solar and not wind. They don't work.
Tuesdays with Tony Katz here on 93 WIBC. What did you think of Donald Trump over the weekend taking a shot across the bow at Ron DeSanctimonious just a couple of days for the election?
Look, I expect nothing else from Trump. I got into a whole conversation yesterday about what does it mean that he's going to be first to announce he's going to try and clear the field. And the answer is, the question is, does it keep anybody out? And the answer is, not really. I don't think it does anything to DeSantis, because why would he announce now? That guy can wait a year. A year. Let Trump burn himself out to the extent that guy could burn himself out. Let people get tired of his crap and be looking for something else. But DeSantis doesn't have to panic. Pompeo doesn't have to panic. Governor Greg Abbott doesn't have to panic. None of these people do who may want to get in the race. Now, people like Cruz or Rubio, if they want to get in the race, I think they've got a harder issue with Trump being in early and clearing out and demanding fealty and loyalty right from the start, which he's going to learn doesn't come. The real question is, does a MAGA base, to the extent that there's a MAGA base, want Trump, or do they want to win? I want to be in the place where they want to win, because if they want Trump, that's idol worship. And man, am I freaked out about idol worship.
All right, Tony, some people play fantasy football. Let's do a little fantasy election here. For argument's sake, just play along with me here. Let's say that Ron DeSantis looks like he's going to be the guy. He is going to win the Republican primary over Donald Trump. Do you think Trump is petty enough to run as a third party just to try to screw over Ron DeSantis? Maybe, possibly.
Everything is possible. Everything is on the table at all times when it comes to Trump. We're so far ahead of the game that I just make it stop. Just make it blanking stop already.
All right, my man. I'm sure we know what's coming up tomorrow morning on the big shows, but give us a little preview.
Oh, sure. We'll be discussing Joe Biden's favorite pudding recipes.
Oh, good. It's about time he did something that he knows what he's talking about.
Right. So it's going to be all right. It's going to be a good time had by all. So join me at 6 a.m.
He is on social media at Tony Katz. Facebook is Tony Katz Radio. TK, thank you.
Always.
It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
If you could bottle this,
Smith can shoot the three and hits the three.
Everyone will want some. That's the kind of energy flowing around Pacers Nation. We are roaring.
Here's another three.
We are ready to rise and show the world what we're about.
And here's Turner hammering it down.
We are revved up.
The Pacers battle Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets Wednesday at 7. Tickets at Pacers.com. Pacers Nuggets Wednesday at 7.
Hammer and Nigel show here. I have an American Standard air conditioner, and I loved it. Worked like a charm this summer. One of those fantastic local independent dealers in Central Indy is
Marshall Mechanical Heating and Cooling in Franklin. In Johnson and the surrounding counties, you can call Eric Marshall and Mark Chester at your trusted American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, Marshall Mechanical Heating and Cooling. If you're tired of hearing the ads on how you get a free furnace with the purchase of an air conditioner, listen, they know that's a gimmick at Marshall. What they do is they give you an honest quote in Johnson and the surrounding counties, and make sure that furnace is running safe and efficiently this fall with furnace tune-up from Marshall Mechanical Heating and Cooling. Ask about how Marshall can help you with your indoor air quality. So if you're on the south side, call Marshall at 317-738-5940 or visit callthemarshallnow.com. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you. American Standard Heating and Air, built to a higher standard.
Who is running your business anyway? You may ask yourself this sometimes as the owner of a business or partner in a practice group. Take your internet and phone service. You've pivoted to do more business virtually. But when dealing with the hiccups that come with that, your managed service provider puts the burden on you, saying,
check your gateway and firewall.
Frustrated, you say that's what you need them for. But what you get back is,
okay, put in a ticket and I'll get back to you next week.
Maybe it's time to get control.
This is Troy Barceau, owner of Teltec Business, specialist in premium internet and voice over IP. Local companies like Landman Beatty Lawyers and B&W Plumbing appreciate our quick, easy-to-understand customer care team. And you will too if you give us a try. With Teltec Business, there's no consultant double talk or call center runaround.
Take control and start saving today. Let local professionals help you with your business, internet, and VoIP needs. Call Teltec Business for a free review today at 317-390-8585.
At Shane Company, we know that love and meaning can be captured in a beautiful piece of fine jewelry. That's why we offer so many options to make your holiday gift even more personal. Jewelry with a birthstone makes a wonderful gift because it holds so much significance. Shane Company has unique styles with birthstones for every month of the year. Diamonds, cultured pearls, rubies, opals, and more. Why not create a necklace with her birthstone and then add a charm for good luck? A necklace with the first letter of her name lets her know how important she is to you. And our gold letter charms sparkle with diamond accents. Or select an engravable style. Give your loved one a bracelet inscribed with the place you met so they'll never forget that moment. Or capture your strong connection with a promise ring inscribed with both of your initials. Our jewelry consultants will make it easy. At Shane Company, we give you so many ways to create gifts infused with meaning. Treasures they'll have forever.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
Have an old furnace? Text the year your furnace was installed to B&W at 317-868-7900 and you could win one of 2 new furnaces right before Christmas. B&W is your American Standard Air dealer.
All right, Dan Levy, let's get people where they need to be.
Well, if you're going to be somewhere, try to avoid 465 Southside eastbound and Man Road. We had an earlier vehicle fire over there. It's gone. Still a pretty decent-sized delay from right around Washington, but hopefully that should thin out here soon. 65 on the north end southbound. Delays continue from 21st to the 70 north split. And then 70 on the west end, eastbound heavy from west into Meridian. This report is sponsored by B-Window. Don't miss the annual B-Window Black Friday sale of the 52% discount plus manufacturer's rebates and no payments, no interest for 18 months. BWindow.com. I'm Dan Levy. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
Right now, we've got dark skies. I'm not used to saying dark here in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Dark skies, 59 at the American Standard Heating Weather Center at 93 WIBC.
You're listening to the Hammer and Nigel Show on 93 WIBC.
Oh, it's a final countdown. I see what you did there. First polls closing in a few minutes here in Central Indy, Hammer. Now, there's a couple of places in Indiana where we're on Central Time, so they're open until they're open for another hour, I believe.
Correct.
Is that right? But
correct.
Most polls closing here in about 10 minutes, but that doesn't mean you leave that line. If you're in line, stay in line and vote.
Even if you get there at 5:59, let's say you're driving to go vote right now, as long as you're in line, then you get your chance to go vote. Now, at 6 o'clock, they cut off the line. But if you're going somewhere to cast your vote, stay there. You made it this far. It's important. Get your vote in.
You know, I just realized this is I think we're around the 2-year anniversary of me having to call in sick to work. Or no, I wasn't sick, but my wife was because she had COVID. Right. And this was 2 years ago when when it was the presidential election. This is our Super Bowl here at the radio station.
Right. Trump v. Biden.
And this was big. And I had to call my boss and say, hey, not only does my wife have COVID, but it knocked her on her ass. And he's like, yeah, you got to stay home. We don't want you here.
And back then, somebody had COVID like it was DEFCON 1.
Yeah, although my wife... I mean, that's probably the closest I've ever come to getting a divorce because I kind of wanted to. I'm like, Lindsay, she's sitting in bed. She's like, I go, here, we're on the air. Can you talk to Hammer? And just tell us, get away from me. No, this is not a bit for your show. She goes, I don't even want people to know that I have COVID. You just tell them it's a close contact and that's it. You just tell them, like, she was really mad at me that I wanted to, like, kind of, make her a guest on the show.
Right. We share our lives with people.
We share our lives with people. Probably people were wondering why I wasn't there on our Super Bowl of politics, day of politics, the election day, presidential election day. And eventually I was able to get do the show from my closet. You remember that? Doing the show from my closet for...
Right.
Like 5 days.
My favorite was when you would go to the restroom and I could hear you flush. Because the restroom clearly was close to the closet. Yeah, and I could hear you flush.
It was our walk-in closet, and that's where I decided to put the setup with the microphone and the computer and everything because I had great, there were no acoustics. It was like the echoed. There was no echo or reverb or anything because I was surrounded by, cloth.
Right.
I posted a picture of it, and my wife's bras were hanging in the background. I had to take it down immediately.
Remember when Pat McAfee put some tweet out from the locker room? I think Andrew Luck was in the background, naked,
getting dressed, putting his boxer briefs on. Kind of the same thing. But yeah, this is a 2-year anniversary of that.
And congratulations to your better half, Lindsay, because she became the latest woman to say, "I don't want to talk to him." That's a long and distinguished list of ladies who have said, "I don't want to talk to him."
She was incredulous that I even had it in my head that, hey, just talk to Hammer on the air real quick. This could be good for the show. She's one of those ones that got it like it was the flu, Some people when I got it, I only had no smell or taste. Right?
But you felt okay.
I felt fine. Yeah, but I just couldn't taste my whiskey or smell a candle or anything. But she got punched in the gut by it, for sure. So, love you, honey. We're coming up on our 14-year anniversary here.
Happy anniversary, I guess.
We were lucky that week too because that entire week of November during the presidential election, that entire week was killer weather, like 70s, mid 70s. So we were outside every day, and quite frankly, I've never done the show from home since then or before then, but that was kind of fun, wandering down to my beer fridge at 5 o'clock to get a beer and coming back up to the closet.
Can I do something real quick?
What are you doing there? Oh, you got the...
I'm cracking open an aluminum pint of Miller Lite because we're coming back for a live hour, Nige.
That's right.
We're going to take some calls. We're going to talk election. And when we start getting results, we will let you know it's election night here on the Hammer and Nigel show.
You know Warren Buffett's number one rule of investing, don't lose money. Buffett's second rule, go back and see Rule 1. Dan Dockage here for Crown Haven Advisors. The certified retirement income professionals at Crown Haven focus on this same wise advice. Don't lose money. If you're like most people with a retirement account already seeing negative returns, don't lose money will be difficult. However, Crown Haven clients will not have a negative year with their custom Retire Shield financial plan. Retire Shield accounts come with upfront bonuses of up to 10% or more, which will never show any market losses no matter how far the market falls. Plus, provide you planned income as long as you're alive. To learn more, visit crownhaven.com or Google Crown Haven Advisors Indiana for a relationship visit and your own free Retire Shield. I'm telling you, Crown Haven is working for me. They can work for you. Give them a call today at 765-522-7233. Tell them Dan sent you to Crown Haven Wealth Advisors.
At Franciscan Health, we're inspired by what moves you and how you move through life. So if you're suffering from joint pain and want to get back to an active lifestyle, Franciscan Health Mooresville and Carmel, home to the Center for Hip and Knee Surgery, is your best move. Our world-renowned orthopedic surgeons offer the latest advancements in total joint replacement, including outpatient surgery. If you're ready to get moving with less pain, request an appointment at centerforhipandkneesurgery.org.
The most from every investment. That's why Comcast Business gives you more. Like more innovation with our new gig speed Wi-Fi, plus unlimited data. More speed from the largest, fastest, reliable network for small businesses. And more savings, up to 60% a year with Comcast Business Mobile. All from the company that powers more businesses than any other provider. When you need more, you need Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Get started with internet and advanced security for just $40 per month for 12 months with no annual contract when you add mobile. Plus, ask how to get a $750 prepaid card with a qualifying gig bundle. Ends 1/1/2023. Restrictions apply. Actual speeds vary. Compare pricing of top carriers. Requires EcoBill and AutoPay. Comcast Business Internet required. New Comcast Business 100 megabits per second internet and security edge customers only. Equipment taxes and other fees extra and subject to change. Must add mobile within 90 days of internet install and keep services for 12 months for discount. Results vary. Not an endorsement.
What you've heard about probiotics is probably wrong.
I eat yogurt, so I don't need to take a probiotic.
Probiotics? They don't really work. It's time to learn the truth about probiotics from Align, the probiotic brand recommended by gastroenterologists 2 times more than any other probiotic brand. Align has probiotics to naturally help relieve occasional bloating, gas, and abdominal discomfort. Try Align for a month and see how great a healthy gut can feel at AlignProbiotics.com.
This is Ryan again, owner of Plumbing Heating Paramedics. Paramedics know that timing is everything, and for us, mild weather this time of year means furnace sales are slower, which means you can take advantage of our best offer of the year. Now through December 10th, we are offering $2,500 off a new Trane furnace or air conditioner. A deal this strong allows us to keep our technicians busy and gives you the best deal of the year. Call to schedule your free home evaluation today or visit phparamedics.com for more details.
It's here this weekend. Diamonds Direct's biggest and final store-wide sale of the year. 3 days of extra savings. Friday through Sunday. Your final chance before the holidays to save an extra 20% on virtually everything. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, colored gemstones. And the selection is double. With entire designer lines flown in only for this event. This is the best pre-holiday shopping opportunity. The biggest sale all year. Special financing too. Details at diamondsdirect.com. It's this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Only at Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Everyone knows that soaking in Epsom salts can make you feel better. Now imagine soaking in Epsom salts in a Royal Spa hot tub.
Ah, Royal Spa.
It's B-Window's Black Friday sale.
52% discount plus manufacturer's rebates and no interest, no payments for 18 months.
Trust me.
This is Inside Indiana Business Radio. I'm Alex Brown. The Indiana CPA Society is focusing on a series of strategies to grow Indiana's certified public accountant pipeline, which it says faces significant challenges in the year ahead. CEO Courtney Kincaid says barriers to entering the profession due to rigorous standards have created a greater need for new CPAs.
To become a certified public accountant, it requires 150 hours of continuing professional education. We were successful in passing some rule changes that allow Indiana CPA candidates to begin sitting for the exam at 120 hours while they finish up that other 30 hours that are required for licensure.
The organization is also focusing its awareness efforts on students early in high school. Indianapolis-based Ascension St. Vincent broke ground today on its West Lafayette Neighborhood Hospital in what ultimately could be a larger medical complex near Purdue University. The health facility will feature an emergency department, 8 inpatient beds, and laboratory and imaging services. Jasper-based Kimball Electronics is reporting fiscal first quarter net income of $9.5 million, up from $2.6 million during the same period last year. CEO Donald Charon says for the third consecutive quarter, the company's net sales have surged to a record-breaking level. This is Inside Indiana Business Radio.
CenterPoint Energy's newest generation of safe, efficient energy includes capturing and harnessing the natural power of pure sunshine. We are increasing solar in our balanced and reliable energy mix as we power our region with more clean, renewable energy. We're bringing a little piece of the sun to every home and business while reducing carbon emissions and helping create a cleaner environment. It's just a little something for your smart energy future.
A nonprofit organization that encourages women to work in the trucking industry has listed the top transportation companies for women to work for, and 4 Hoosier businesses made the list. The Women in Trucking Association says the listed companies, including Carter Express in Anderson, Columbus-based Cummins, and Palmer Trucks and Venture Transport Logistics in Indianapolis, share similar characteristics, including corporate cultures that foster gender diversity, competitive compensation and benefits, and flexible hours and work requirements. I'm Alex Brown for 93 WIBC.
Coming up in 2 minutes, local news around Indianapolis after Fox News Radio from the Shepherd Community Center studios. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis.
Some polls in 2 states just closing this midterm day, while voters in some states where hotly contested races are taking place have another few hours to get to the polls. Fox's Tom Graham has this live.
Lisa, some polls closed moments ago in Indiana and Kentucky. We're keeping an eye on several House races there. And in just under an hour, polls will close in 7 states, including Georgia, where voters are deciding between Democrat incumbent Senator Raphael Warnock and Republican challenger Herschel Walker. And in Florida, former President Donald Trump cast his ballot in Palm Beach.
You got to make up your mind. You got to go out and vote. You have to vote. No matter who you vote for, you have to vote.
Florida Senator Marco Rubio looking to fend off a challenge from Congresswoman Val Demings. Elsewhere, Vice President Kamala Harris held an event today in Los Angeles.
Well, I'm working that doesn't happen.
VP responding to speculation of a red wave on Capitol Hill. Lisa.
Tom, in Georgia, both of Georgia's top 2 races this election cycle could go to a runoff, and libertarians on the ballot may be the reason.
The third-party candidates have talked about issues many care about. In a recent governor's debate, Shane Hazel discussed legalizing pot.
It is a right of people. It is medicine. It is something that we can add to our industry here in Georgia and really displace a lot of what comes in from outside of Georgia.
Chase Oliver, third man in the Senate race, wants better for those who defend our country.
And speaking with veterans, they can tell you that the most broken thing involved when they come back from war is the VA system.
Oliver is on record saying if there is a runoff, he'd endorse neither Senator Warnock nor Herschel Walker.
Fox's Gernal Scott in Atlanta. Wall Street, the Dow at 333, the NASDAQ gained 51. Listen to Fox News Radio's Democracy and Election Night coverage live tonight on the Fox News app. Just click listen. America is listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
It's the 200th homicide. Clear skies and 56 degrees in Indianapolis. Your radar also clear, a low of 43 tonight. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 6:02. You heard a lot about violence and criminal justice during this election cycle. Donnie Burgess reports on another homicide in Indianapolis.
The cops were called around 1:30 Tuesday afternoon to Night Song Drive on a report of a person shot. Indy Metro Police found a man shot laying outside of a home near a car. He died at the scene. Police were told the shooting may have been domestic related and made sure to round up all the witnesses. There's no threat to the community, no ID on the victim, and no word on a suspect or motive. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
The Noblesville Police Department says people should stay away from the city's downtown. Officers are investigating the area around 8th and Hannibal Streets, a few blocks south of the Hamilton County Courthouse. The department says police are attempting to serve a warrant. An Indianapolis man will be in prison for more than 12 years for having and transporting child pornography. Sasha Nixon has more.
Brian Greenlee pled guilty to transportation of child sexual abuse material, according to the Department of Justice. Police first looked into his crimes in January of 2021 after he had been arrested for a different incident in Hendricks County. After searching Greenlee's phone and more, officers found numerous sexually explicit images and videos of children. They also learned that he had sent links to some of this content to others. Some of the kids were as young as 6 months. After prison, Greenlee will face 10 years of supervision. He must also pay restitution and register as a sex offender. Sasha Nixon, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Allowing more investment into electric vehicles is vital to Indiana's economic growth, says Governor Eric Holcomb on Inside Indiana Business. He says it's all about making sure Indiana remains a production powerhouse for the next decade.
Into the future, in order to make sure that we continue here in the state of Indiana to offer reliability, sustainability, and affordability of our energy sources.
This week is phase 2 of Durrell Renewables solar farm construction in northwest Indiana. It's a $1.5 billion, 13,000-acre farm. Coverage of the midterm election can be heard tonight on 93 WIBC. We'll have coverages of races in Marion County, including the race for county prosecutor, as well as other races across Indiana. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather at 6:04.
My husband and I live next door to a haunted graveyard. It's a little creepy, but we manage. Just like we manage without home internet. Do I wish my mobile hotspot was faster? Yes, but I make it work. Kinda. Just like we make it work sleeping next to a 17th century burial ground.
Honey, can you move your hand?
That's not my hand.
It's mine.
Not having home internet? It's not that bad.
It is that bad. Don't settle. Switch to Xfinity and get one line of unlimited mobile and home internet together for $50 a month for 12 months. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit your local Xfinity store today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. New Connect Internet customers only on 1-year contract. Internet included for 12 months. New Xfinity mobile account required. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. After 12 months, regular rates apply. Xfinity post-pay internet required for Xfinity mobile. Additional devices extra. Reduced speeds after 20 gigabytes of data usage. Offer ends 12/21/22.
But traffic at 6:05. Here's Dan Levy.
As you make your way over towards the area roadways, 69 southbound, State Road 18 and State Road 22, all because of ongoing signal work. East side of 465 southbound, hitting the brakes, Pendleton Pike, into 74. South side of 465 eastbound, traffic is jammed up from Sam Jones Expressway into Kentucky Avenue. This report is sponsored by Meijer. Feast for less this Thanksgiving with Meijer Grade A frozen turkey for 55 cents per pound. Limit 2, save big on your Thanksgiving meal and holiday shopping at Meijer. I'm Dan Levy. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Mostly clear skies remain in place for tonight. Low temperatures right around 40 degrees. Tomorrow, mostly sunny. High temperatures into the upper 60s. I'm Wish TV's Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Harrison Silcox on the level on the go and on WIBC.com.
Hammer and Nigel.
Can you believe these characters are weirdos?
On 93 WIBC.
So let's rock it!
My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer is right over there. If you're standing in line waiting to vote, you're maybe listening to us on an app or our YouTube feed, don't leave the lines. The polls are closed, but you could still wait and vote. They're not going to kick you out of line. They might cut off the line so people that are walking in from the parking lot can't get in line. But if you're in line somehow, stay there. You'll be fine. And we're still getting people telling us how long they waited in line. Let's see, Hendricks County. This is from Andy. It took us 37 minutes to vote in Hendricks County. Let's see, Hancock County. Looks like there's a line around the corner there at the library or the school, wherever Anna is at. No stickers are left. That's how you can tell a lot of people voted. Like, I didn't get a sticker when I voted in Zionsville.
Oh, I got one. I'm rocking it out.
I see it. You
And,
did your civic duty.
We're on the YouTube stream, and I will say this. One of these silver linings of daylight saving time is now that the sun is down, if you watch me on the YouTube stream, I don't look like I'm in the witness protection program anymore. Because I'm a guy that likes the window open, right? I like to look out at Monument Circle. I want to keep an eye on things, but that allows the sun come in. And everybody complains, hey, the YouTube feed, it looks like you're ratting somebody out in the mafia.
Yeah, they need to figure that out. That's not our fault. Somebody at digital needs to get on that.
But now it looks great. I'm looking at it right now, and I am a sexy young man.
It's your face. It doesn't look. Don't say it looks great. The actual picture looks great. Your face looks awful.
So now we wait. Big Nige, we wait. We wait for some of these poll numbers to slowly trickle in. And you mentioned this earlier, and I think this is important. While most of the states' polls have closed, there are some counties in Indiana that are open for another hour because they are on a different time zone. So for some of these statewide races, we might not have any information for a little while. And even the local races, we might not have information for a while. It just takes a little bit to get the results in. Luckily, we've got the entire WIBC newsroom loaded. They are here. They're going to be here all night long. Abdul's going to join them, and Chris Davis, our news director, is going to join us here in just a few minutes, and we'll get his thoughts on what's going to happen tonight. I'm interested in the Senate. Aside from the local races, I'm interested in the Senate. Georgia, Pennsylvania, Nevada, and Arizona. These are the 4 states that I think are going to decide the Senate. And earlier today, in the key battleground state of Arizona, in the county that features Phoenix, Maricopa County, the biggest, most diverse swing county, they had some election problems, Nige.
Oh, go figure.
The voting machines were down in 20% of the polling locations. They had to have a press conference to tell everybody that, well, we'll just take those ballots and we'll treat them like mail-in.
When everything is completed, then these ballots will be taken out securely and delivered by a bipartisan team, so Republican and Democrat, down to here at the Central Tabulation Center where they will be tabulated.
And while this is obviously not how the system was designed, this is a fail-safe that functions the exact same way as early voting, which you know we have been going through for the past 26 days.
Look, I think this is all important. I haven't heard of much of this kind of thing happening nationwide. This is an important race in terms of the Senate there in Arizona with Masters and Mike Lee, right?
And Kelly.
And Mike Kelly. And obviously the governor's race, gubernatorial race between Hobbs and Kerry Lake, which, by the way, Katie Hobbs is in charge of what's going on there in the elections, in terms of the elections right now.
Just a coincidence that the biggest county, the most diverse swing county, it's got some shenanigans going on, Katie Hobbs.
So while I know that people in Indiana probably think that Todd Young has got this wrapped up, and he probably does, it's important to pay attention to what's happening in other states, especially in terms of the Senate races, because those Democrats, those guys like Warnock, guys like Fetterman want more oppressive climate change laws. They want to indoctrinate your kids with gender identity and sexuality in schools. They want to defend the police. They love getting the worst offenders out of jail. So does our Marion County prosecutor. It's all important. So we should all be paying attention to these things, especially in the Senate, because it could be 1 or 2 Senate races that will be able to decide some of these things.
In Pennsylvania, their polls close I believe at 8 o'clock tonight. I think I said 7 earlier. I think it's 8 o'clock tonight. That's when their polls close. And we might not know for weeks, Nigel, what's happening in Pennsylvania, because one, it's expected to be very close. If I can make a Fetterman neck joke, it's going to be neck and neck in Pennsylvania tonight. One neck substantially bigger than the other one. One neck having like 2 or 3 layers compared to the other one. And number 2, Fetterman's camp has already lawyered up, because in Pennsylvania, their Supreme Court, their state Supreme Court last week stated that any ballot that does not have a date on it is not valid. Well, Fetterman's camp is saying, well, wait a minute, and I'm paraphrasing here, we got a lot of stupid people that filled out their mail-in ballot. You're going to tell me we're going to throw them away? So now he's lawyering up to try to get the people that did not fill out their ballots properly counted. So this could be a long waiting process. And again, the Senate could come down to one state. Now, would I be surprised if the Republicans won 53 seats in the Senate? If they had 53 seats? No. But realistically, I think this is going to come down to the nitty-gritty here. It's going to be really close in Georgia. You make a great point, Nige. I think if Governor Kemp is going to win this race as governor, and that's what it looks like, that's what the polling shows, and he's going to beat Stacey Abrams, how is it that Raphael Warnock is going to beat Herschel Walker, Mr. Heisman Trophy winner, Georgia Bulldogs, #1 team in the nation? How is a Kemp voter going to also vote for Warnock?
You would think Herschel Walker is going to ride the coattails of Kemp into a victory.
He should if he's smart. He should get with Kemp and do his thing. But this has been another one of those races where both candidates are very flawed. And we're seeing that more and more across the country. Whether it's in Indiana or national candidates, we're getting some real Melvins here.
Has there been a more flawed campaign than Diego Morales, Secretary of State?
It's been rough.
with the charges of voting fraud and the Me Too stuff, and just to name a few, it's been a rough campaign for him.
Yeah, the allegations, the history. Like if you check the resume,
the questionable resume, fired from political gigs.
Right. And what does this mean for the Libertarian candidates? I know the Libertarian candidates are always asking, hey, what about us? Talk about us. Jeff Maurer, he's got a really good shot to make some ground for the Libertarians, but at what cost? If Maurer gets over 10%, does that give a victory to Destiny Wells, who's a lunatic on the left? You might not like Diego Morales. You might not like Destiny Wells. You cast your vote for Jeff Maurer, the Libertarian. But does a vote for Libertarian hurt the Republicans? This has kind of been that same talking point for a number of years. Does it hurt the Republican in this race? I think the answer is yes. But at what point do you teach the Indiana Republicans,
put somebody better out there?
Right. You can't keep putting stiffs out there like Todd Young and Diego Morales and expect us to vote for these people. But if people keep voting for them, the problem is once you get outside of Indianapolis or the areas where there's not a WIBC, right? Because we got a pretty strong signal. We go far up north, we go far south, east and west. But once you get into those pockets that don't have a WIBC, even Fort Wayne, whoa, they're pretty good at what they do, but they don't question and they don't badmouth the conservatives. Here on this radio station, I think we're pretty fair. If you're a Republican turd, we'll call you out. If you're a Democratic turd, we will call you out. It's what we do. And if you don't believe us, ask Eric Holcomb, ask Todd Young, ask Diego Morales. This is what I love about this radio station and the listeners we have. We keep it honest with you all the time. You don't get that from other radio stations around the state of Indiana. All right, here's what I want to do. I want to open up the phones. We don't do this very often, but let's do it now. It's election night. 239-9393. I want you to tell us about your voting experience today. Were you in long lines? Did you see any shenanigans? What was the vibe? What was the mood? Was everything going okay? What races are you excited for? We'll talk all things. We'll let you get on the air here. All we ask is you be brief, you be quick, so we can get as many calls in as we can. 239-9393. That's the number. 239-9393. All right, let's check a look at the roads with Dan Levy. And Dan, if people are out there still in line voting, or maybe they're coming home from the polls, what kind of traffic situation are we looking at?
We have an intersection crash at Cary and Hazel Foster Drive. Another one at Cooper and 58th. Traffic is still busy 465 east side southbound between 70 and 74. And then as you make your way 465 south side eastbound, it's going to be backed up 31 to Keystone, but it's actually starting to get a little bit lighter out there. So not too bad if you're heading to the polls or coming back. This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. Make the hiring process work for you with Indeed's end-to-end hiring solution. You can attract, interview, and hire candidates all from one place. Start at Indeed.com/credit. I'm Dan Levy. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
Nobody has better election coverage than we do right here at 93 WIBC. It's 56 at the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
And while we're still taking calls here, 239-9393, I wanted to remind everybody that we endorsed a candidate.
We did.
For state senate. And look, a lot of these candidates, they sling the mud. But there was only one guy out there that spoke for himself, and that's why we got behind him. The Hammer and Nigel show. In case you didn't know, we had officially endorsed Roy Forehead.
There are some people who want you to think that state senate candidate Roy Forehead doesn't care about the high cost of prescription drugs.
And they couldn't be more wronger. Hi, I'm Roy Forehead, and I do care about the high cost of prescription drugs, mostly because I take 23 different prescription drugs every day. These include 5 powerful antipsychotics, 8 class 4 painkillers, 3 seizure medication, 5 anti-rejection drugs, and 2 different types of sex change hormones.
Oh!
Many of these drugs are prescribed for me by my doctor. The rest I get from a guy named Tony down at the beach. If you elect me your next state senator, I promise to work closely with Carlos, my crack genie, to bring down the high cost of prescription drugs so that everyone can afford to get a sex change just like me.
Dedication to medication.
Come on.
Make Roy Forehead your next state senator.
Endorsed by Hammer and Nigel.
Right, Roy Forehead. That's our candidate. Who's going to get a bigger chunk of the vote tonight, the Libertarian candidate or Roy Forehead? That's our question. All right, so the question is, how was your voting experience? 239-9393. James, can we go to Gary? Gary, you are first up. Welcome to the Hammer and Nigel show.
Gary!
How you doing?
Great, man.
Listen, it's long-time listener, first-time caller, 58 years old. Finally got a chance to talk to you guys. I've been listening to you guys a long time.
Right on.
And my experience today is awesome because my son is now of voting age, and he sat up all night and studied all the candidates.
Good. Love to hear that.
And he so we got to vote together today, and that was special because I'm the wrestling coach at Hamilton Heights, and my son Colton is a wrestling coach, assistant wrestling coach. So he wrestled for me all his life. We've been pretty good friends as father and son, and we do a lot together. But today I said, hey, we got to vote. He looked at me and said, that's our duty. I go, I know. So I think we were 33rd precinct in Fishers, but it took us, there wasn't anybody, was there, Colton? We're just getting out of wrestling practice now. It was like 2 minutes it took me.
Well, that's good.
That's good.
I'm looking at somebody that emailed us on Facebook, Chris Daniels, at the Zionsville Town Hall, and the line was out across the lawn, like not the complete opposite of my experience at the town hall there when I was there early voting Thursday. People were waiting in the parking lot around the corner in Zionsville.
Yeah, I'm hearing a lot of that stuff, and it's like I didn't see any of that in Fishers.
I think it just depends on the time. You know what I mean? Whatever time frame you're coming in.
I know that when I got there, I don't know if it was you or Nigel. I didn't get my sticker.
I didn't. That was me. I didn't get this.
There's a sticker shortage in America. Thanks, Joe Biden. The supply chain has affected our voter stickers.
Like everybody on my Facebook has a sticker on. I'm like, where's my sticker?
Right on. Gary, thank you so much,
Gary.
man. We appreciate it. Let's go to Lee. Lee is standing by. Welcome to the Hammer and Nigel show. Lee, how was your voting experience?
Not bad. I left about 12:49, so I wouldn't have to deal with the lunchtime crowd. And I got there, and I believe it was empty in there, but there were some school board candidates outside and the state representative outside, and I wanted to see what the scoop was with them.
Right.
And it just so happened that one of the school board candidates, the only guy, that was out there, and I had already talked to a Republican representative and asked who was Republican, who was Democrat running, because they don't have to announce that. But
right.
And I'll be darned if he didn't lie to me and say he's a Republican.
We got liars. We got liars.
And anyway, but other than that, there's probably about 5 people ahead of me.
Okay.
I didn't have to wait too long. It was pretty smooth. And
appreciate that, Lee. We got to run.
Thank you.
Real quick, if we're going to go to you on the phone, you guys got to keep it somewhat short so we can get as many calls in. Nigel, we are starting to get the first numbers coming in. Less than 1% recording in the Secretary of State race. Less than 1%. And I'm looking at our news partners, Wish TV here for the source. Diego Morales is at 65%. Destiny Wells, 31%, and the Libertarian Jeff Maurer, 4%.
But
that's
again, 1% reporting?
Less than 1%.
Okay.
And that's from Wish TV. Tim, welcome to the Hammer and Nigel show, Tim.
Hey, guys, I wish I had as much to say as Gary, but that's not true. I was in Carmel today, voted about 11 o'clock, took me about a half an hour. No major shenanigans short of a business card from one of the school board candidates about 6 feet from the entrance to the door. So I'm sure somebody got fired up about that.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tim.
It was a good experience overall.
Love to hear that. Thank you. And again, shout out to all the folks hitting us up on Twitter. Shout out to the Facebook folks, Instagram, and the YouTube chat. Somebody in the YouTube chat was like, somebody needs to call in and shout out the YouTube chat. You know what? I'll do it. Shout out to the YouTube chat.
Thank you.
Mark, welcome to the Hammer and Nigel show. Mark, how was your voting experience?
Well, it was pretty good, actually. When I went out that way, there was probably about, at the Hancock County Library there, it was about probably 300 people. And so it was a pretty good experience. When I got done, I made sure when I drove by, I said, screw Joe Biden, and everybody yelled back.
Thank you for cleaning that up. God bless you.
I was waiting with bated breath.
Whenever there's an awkward pause in this show, just know something really good's about to happen.
James had his hand over that delay button.
Thank you. Let's go to Vanessa. Vanessa, welcome to the Hammer and Nigel show. How was your voting experience?
Hey, guys. Yeah, out here in Greenfield, same thing, Hancock Library. I got there and waited about an hour. And the only thing I saw concerning, which is maybe just regular, and I didn't know, is they were in where it says all the rules for voting. It was talking about having your ID ready. And then it said that if you do not have your ID, you can vote anyway, and they call it a provisional ballot.
Yeah, I think that is a correct thing. But when I become the governor, Vanessa, we're going to make sure everybody has an ID. I don't think it's asking too much to have an ID to vote. Thank you for that. John, welcome to the Hammer and Nigel show, John. Rock and roll. How was your election day?
You know, we actually have the president of the FJB club up here in Logansport.
I did not know that.
Did not know that.
Oh.
No,
Yeah,
that's.
yeah.
Are you him?
Anyway, in and out, no problems at all. But I'm surprised Diego Morales is up right now because he didn't even know there was a debate.
Yeah,
that's true. Good point. And again, less than 1%.
What debate?
Right.
I didn't know there was a debate. That's what he told Tony Katz.
Let's go to Clara. Clara, welcome to the Hammer and Nigel show. Tell us about your voting experience.
Hi. So I'm 17 years old, and I went with my mom and my brothers. We woke up early, and we went to Thorntown.
Jasmine, thank you. We're following breaking news right now. Police are searching for a missing infant and his mother.
I'm hearing Wish TV in our feed here. Thank you. I'm sorry, Clara. Go ahead.
I couldn't hear her. I think her connection's bad.
I'm 17, and we went with my mom to vote, and it was a great experience over in Thorntown. We went, and they recognized my mom, Carrie Douglas, with the Boone County Preservation Group, and it was really great. Everyone was respectful, and it was really awesome. I appreciated that kind of experience.
Awesome. Love to hear that, Clara. Thank you, and congratulations to your mom. And Dan, we're going to give you the last word here. How was your voting experience?
It was very quick and good. 8:45 this morning, and Oakland and Road to the church, 5 minutes in and out. So I was excited about being able to vote for the prosecutor, but also excited to watch the results from all these other states to see if a red wave really will.
Yeah.
That's really what I'm excited about.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to be up late tonight, man.
Right. And coming up here in about 32 minutes, Georgia, Kentucky, South Carolina, Vermont, Virginia, and technically Indiana. Those last couple of counties in Indiana that are on a different time zone, those polls all close. All right. When we get the results, we'll pass them on to you. Coming up next, our news director, Chris Davis.
If you run a small business, you need the most from every investment. That's why Comcast Business gives you more. Like more innovation with our new gig speed Wi-Fi, plus unlimited data. More speed from the largest, fastest, reliable network for small businesses. And more savings, up to 60% a year with Comcast Business Mobile. All from the company that powers more businesses than any other provider. When you need more, you need Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Get started with internet and advanced security for just $40 per month for 12 months with no annual contract when you add mobile. Plus, ask how to get a $750 prepaid card with a qualifying gig bundle. Ends 1/1/2023. Restrictions apply. Actual speeds vary. Compare pricing of top carriers. Requires EcoBill and AutoPay. Comcast Business Internet required. New Comcast Business 100 megabits per second internet and security edge customers only. Equipment taxes and other fees extra and subject to change. Must add mobile within 90 days of internet install and keep services for 12 months for discount. Results vary. Not an endorsement.
It's pretty cool. Low T Center, their annual health assessment for guys is completely covered by health insurance usually. They check everything. They check your PSA, which is your prostate, thyroid, liver, kidney function, cholesterol, glucose levels, triglycerides. They even can see if you have sleep apnea. Or, yes, they specialize in low T. A lot of people talking about low testosterone, but do your homework and be sure to go somewhere that you can trust. The Hammer and Nigel Show always recommends a Low T Center.
The Low T Center does so much for men's health. They can check your prostate levels, thyroid, liver, kidney functions, cholesterol, glucose levels, sleep apnea, and more. And the best part is it's covered by most health insurance or less than $100 cash pay. So if you need to get that health assessment taken care of, the only place to go, that you should go, is the Low T Center. LowTCenter.com. That's LowTCenter.com. Low T Center's reinventing men's health care.
Have an old furnace? Text the year your furnace was installed to B&W at 317-868-7900 and you could win one of 2 new furnaces right before Christmas. B&W is your American Standard Air dealer.
The Indiana Donor Network encourages you to say yes to being an organ donor when you renew your hunting license online. Learn more at donatelifeindiana.org.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Violence on Election Day. 55 degrees, clear skies on Monument Circle. Radar is clear, low of 43 tonight. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 6:30. Another homicide in Indianapolis.
And that makes homicide number 200. I'm Donnie Burgess. The victim was found shot near a car outside of a home on Nightsong Drive Tuesday afternoon. No word on the suspect or motive, but IMPD says this may have been domestic related. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Police in Indianapolis are looking for a missing mom and son. 24-year-old Savannah Mason and her 3-month-old Paris Hayes Jr. were last seen at Monday, October 31st on Rockville Road on the west side. Mason is white, 5'9", with brown hair and brown eyes. She may be in need of medical attention, say police. If you know anything, call IMPD. Election officials in Arizona's Maricopa County say they found a solution for tabulation issues. Fox's Kristen Goodwin reports.
Republican candidate for Arizona Governor Carrie Lake voting in what she called very liberal Phoenix.
My message to the people of Arizona is do not get out of line until you have cast your vote.
Slamming tabulation errors in Maricopa County Board of Supervisors Chairman Bill Gates says they've identified the issue.
It appears some of the printers were not producing dark enough timing marks on the ballots. The solution has worked at 17 locations, and technicians deployed throughout the county are working to resolve this issue at the remaining locations.
Explaining no one was turned away and over 140,000 voted in person as of 2:20 p.m. local time. In Arizona, Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
Coverage of the midterm election can be heard tonight on 93 WIBC. Coverages of races in Marion County, including the one for county prosecutor, as well as others across Indiana, can be heard. Coverage starts at 7 p.m. This week is Winter Weather Preparedness Week, meaning it's time to stock up your car in case you get stuck.
Make sure you have a way to get traction or shovel some snow if you ever get caught out in the elements like that, especially as we get here into late November and December.
Alex McGinnis with the National Weather Service. He said you should also pack something to keep you warm. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather at 6:32.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by B&W Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Drains, your American Standard air dealer.
You had a solid retirement dream. Sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But inflation and recession has you wondering if all of your hard-earned equity will still be there. What if you could recession-proof your equity right now? You can with TrueHold. TrueHold will buy your home for its best current value before a recession can erode it. You get to bank all the cash now and live in your home for as long as you want. And TrueHold covers all property taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance. And since TrueHold pays your home's current value in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you'd like. Don't wait for inflation, recession, and interest rates to erode your home's value. Visit TrueHold.com and discover how much TrueHold will buy your home for today based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, fastest way to cash out on your home's value without having to move. That's TrueHold.com.
With traffic at 6:33, here's Dan Levy.
Got a crash. This one's going to be at Cooper and 58th, reportedly involving a pedestrian. Another crash at Raymond and Emerson, 465 Southside westbound. Still tightens up from 65 into 31, and 465 Eastside southbound's heavy, 70 to 74. This report is sponsored by B-Window. Don't miss the annual B-Window Black Friday sale. Up to 52% discount plus manufacturer's rebates and no payments, no interest for 18 months. BWindow.com. I'm Dan Levy. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Mostly clear skies remain in place for tonight. Low temperatures right around 40 degrees. Tomorrow, mostly sunny. High temperatures into the upper 60s. I'm Wish TV's Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Harrison Silcox on the level on the go and on WIBC.com.
The Hammer and Nigel Show.
Can we please just be adults about this? You, an adult, you had a Lunchables for dinner last night.
93 WIBC.
Hey, my name is Nigel. Hammer's over there. Chris Davis from the WIBC Newsroom, WIBC News Director, joining us live in studio. Before we get to some of these updates, have you ever seen a midterm election or remember a midterm election quite like this? I don't want to use the word chaos or chaotic, maybe like a carnival atmosphere. Maybe just, I mean, everybody is going like there's so many personalities,
We've been through so many political eras, and
yes,
this is the wildest I've ever seen.
Really?
I think
for a midterm election.
Yeah, for a midterm election, because you got accusations already coming out preemptively, you know? And this is a fight for our democracy.
What does that mean? Like what's happening in Arizona? What do you mean?
Oh, well, I just mean, people preemptively saying that this could take days. And
okay.
Like Pennsylvania, for example. Pennsylvania, Fetterman's camp is already lawyered up and said, hey, we need to make sure that these ballots filled out incorrectly with no date should count. So we might not know who wins Pennsylvania for a while.
That's against the rules. You know, right. according to the rules in Pennsylvania, you can't do that.
So we're looking at some numbers coming in. And again, we are so early in this process. But the Associated Press has got some numbers out. 2% reporting, all of 2%. Todd Young at 58% and McDermott at 40%. That's from the Associated Press. Chris, as this night goes on, what time of night do you guys start to normally kind of get a feel of the winners and the losers?
Usually, it varies with election, but 7:30 to 8:30 in that era.
Oh, really? That early?
Yeah, we start to get, results in. We don't get elections called that early, but we start to get an idea of where they're going.
And for, let's say, some of these high-profile Senate races on the national level here, state like Pennsylvania, who doesn't close until 8 o'clock, or Arizona, who's out on the West Coast, at what point can we start to see how this thing's going to shape out?
Well, I really wish I could answer that, but the unpredictability factor is ever present. So you're looking at the Fetterman-Oz race. This could go on into the night.
What races are out there that maybe maybe are on your radar that aren't a lot of other people paying attention to. Like I'd say this race out in Oregon, this gubernatorial race election in Oregon with the 3 female candidates, Republican, the Democrat, and there was she's an unaffiliated candidate. I mean, I think that's a pretty big. Oregon hasn't had a Republican governor for 40 years, and it's a neck and neck out there.
That's crazy. And it's also, a little bit closer than people would expect in New York as well.
Yes.
In Oklahoma, which is, I used to live there and worked at a station in Tulsa. I was kind of surprised to hear, of Kevin Stitt's trouble out there, of the governor. When I was there, Mary Fallin was the governor, but they've got a history of Republican governors.
2% reporting, and again, it's Associated Press. Victoria Spartz at 56.9%, and Jeanine Lake, the Democrat, at 43.1%. It is DEFCON 1 back in the newsroom, Chris. I'm looking through the window here into the newsroom here. Take me through what all of these people are doing throughout the course of the evening here on WIBC.
All right, so we're going to be in here. John Herrick is going to be the guy who's going through the numbers and getting.
Does he think he's the boss of everybody back there because he does IU basketball and stuff now? Does he think he's Mr. Billy Badass?
He knows
John is a natural boss. But Abdul will be doing, the commentary on the side there and some analysis. I'll be here in the host chair, kind of facilitating the whole thing. Then we've got Harrison Silcox, who is our resident social media expert. We've got Sasha Nixon, who is going to be at the Democratic headquarters. We've got Jaden Arnold, who is going to be with the Libertarians. And then we've got Parker Carlson, who is going to the Republican camp at the JW. So we do have all those things covered tonight.
What's considered success for the Libertarians tonight? Is it getting Maurer over 10%, or, I don't know. What would you consider success for the Libertarians?
Well, I mean, the ultimate success would be to win, right? But
but let's be honest. Like, I'd like the Colts to win the Super Bowl, Chris, but that's not going to happen this year either.
Donald Rainwater set the bar, 12%. And I think, if Maurer can get over 10, that would be absolutely incredible. Also, that's going to split things up.
All attention is probably going to be on the Senate tonight. The House is expected to go Republican. I mean, anything can happen, but it looks like that's going to go Republican. I'm fascinated with some of these governor's races, the gubernatorial races, New York and Michigan, Oregon, Arizona. Any of these stick out to you?
Like I was saying, New York, it's a little bit surprising to have a Republican candidate as close as I can't remember the guy's name on the top of my head.
Zeldin, yeah.
As close as he is at this point. I mean, you think about what New York has been since 9/11. Rudy Giuliani was the Republican mayor of New York. You haven't really seen a Republican mayor of the big city since then. You had Bloomberg, but that was Republican, maybe a true Republican in name only there. Then for the state, I mean, you got a history of the Cuomos, you got a recent history that does not point to the likelihood of having a Republican governor. But here we are with the polls.
The Senate's going to get the majority of the headlines tonight because it honestly could go either way. But this race in Indiana, for that first district up in northern Indiana, where you've got Marvin and you've got Jennifer Ruth Green, this has been just such a nasty, gross race campaign. Give us your thoughts on that.
Well, somebody, had things exposed that should never have been exposed. And I don't know if that is going to have any impact. I talked to, and this is a Democrat, mind you, I talked to Tom McDermott yesterday, and he says, well, no.
Did he make you pay to listen to his podcast while you were on the phone with him, Chris?
Did he cuss at you?
None of that. He didn't challenge me to a boxing match either. He did say, I'm from the region, and Frank Mervan's got this. The narrative that Frank Mervan is in trouble is just not true. And Frank Mervan is one of those guys who is a constituent-oriented congressman, meaning he kind of does things in a quiet manner in D.C., but back home he's getting the little grants and all that kind of stuff. He's making sure East Chicago is on the way to cleanup, that kind of thing. So you got to factor in Jennifer Ruth Green has not had the opportunity to, I guess, court the people like Frank Mervan has.
As a journalist, as you are, as the director for the WIBC newsroom, what happened with Ruth Green in terms of revealing some private medical history in Politico? And the Adam Wren was the author of that article. Was that egregious? I mean, was that sort of crossing the line in terms of journalism?
Medical records ever be let out into the public? I mean, you guys talk about your ailments all the time, but that's because you agree to do it. You volunteer. Right. You want to do it. I mean, Jennifer Ruth Green, just because she's a candidate, doesn't mean that she gets that kind of information, especially as sensitive as that information is. Do you get that kind of information disseminated to the public? I mean, as a human being, I would say, God, no. And so, I mean, I would say it's egregious, but a lot of people think it's questionable with who took responsibility.
And again, we're waiting to get the numbers in. We're just starting to trickle in a few of them here. Again, just 2% reporting in a lot of these races. Todd Young, 53%, McDermott, 45%. We don't have any information on the prosecutor's race or anything like that yet. Chris Davis in the newsroom will keep you up to date on that throughout the night. Chris, this prosecutor's race here in Marion County, listen, the Democrats have such an advantage in registered voters. Indianapolis is a blue city. Marion County is a blue county. Does Cindy Carrasco have a chance tonight?
Well, that's difficult to say because I was surprised walking in my old neighborhood, which was a heavy Democrat neighborhood. They had the Pence Must Go signs, and I saw some Cindy Carrasco signs there.
Really?
Yes.
That's interesting. Abdul kind of said the same thing earlier. Areas where you don't normally see Republican yard signs, there are a few Cindy Carrasco signs up.
In the median or in front of homeowners'
No, these
houses?
were in front of houses. So, I mean, if Cindy Carrasco wins or if Ryan Mears wins, either one, I'm going to ask them to prosecute the fool who put me on this scam call list.
Right?
It's been unrelenting for days. And today I sang the Blazing Saddles theme to them. I was at home watching Gunsmoke. I pointed the phone to the TV. I said, you ever seen that Matt Dillon?
Wait a minute. Well, isn't that Rakita's job? I thought he was supposed to stop all the scam robot calls.
Right. Let's give these people the death penalty. That's what I'm saying. All right. One more time, all throughout the night tonight, what can we expect right here on WIBC?
Every hour on the hour, you will get the latest updates. Now, you might not be paying too much attention to these races. Hammer and Nigel audience, usually well informed because you guys are talking about it all the time, but other people might not be so informed, so we got you. We're going to take you through it. And every half hour, we're going to have another update. So in between, you'll get updates on the national races from Fox News. So you've got WIBC to take you through all of it tonight.
Local races, national races, we've got you all night. Chris Davis, thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, guys.
It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Smith & Wesson is committed to empowering Americans no matter what. With inflation hitting everywhere, we've decided to make a change. Now, you can buy a Smith & Wesson Shield Plus, our most popular concealed carry firearm, at an all-new low price, $100 off MSRP. We're absorbing the costs and passing along the savings to you so you don't have to compromise on personal security. Visit smithandwesson.com to find a Shield Plus near you. Smith & Wesson. Always expect the best.
Hey, I have energy-efficient Window Nation windows installed in my house. I've been saving lots of dough on my energy bills for a couple of years now. Temps are dropping, but costs are up. Inflation is up. With this deal from Window Nation, you could save thousands. 2 free windows with every 2 you buy. There is no limit, and you pay nothing. No money up front with no interest until 2025.
Listen, I'm going to have some real talk with you here. If you don't call Window Nation and at least lock this deal in, there's something wrong with you. You hate money. If you hate money, just give it to me. I'll call Window Nation and get the better windows. 866-90-NATION. Buy 2 windows, get 2 for free. Any style, and there's no limit. No limit. And you don't pay anything until 2025. No interest, no down payments, nothing. Seriously, make the call. Lock the deal in. 866-90-NATION or go to windownation.com. But you have to tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Inflating prices aren't stopping anytime soon, and that kitchen or bath remodel you've been thinking about, if you wait any longer, it's just going to get more and more expensive. You need to be planning right now. Tony Katz for Boer Remodeling. Get in touch with Boer now to get on the schedule for 2023 and avoid some of those price increases. Boer Remodeling aims to be the finest remodeler in Central Indiana with the best materials and most skilled craftsmen. They'll guide you through the entire process to make your vision come to life. Boer Remodeling, BOOHER. Talk to BoerRemodeling.com to set up your free consultation.
Don't you love fall in Indy, but you hate the paint? Well, do what your neighbor Mark did. He called Rhino Shield.
It's a two-story home built in 1992. Around 2001, looking at needing to paint, I heard a radio ad, with Rhino Shield, you won't have to paint again for another 25 years.
That's because Rhino Shield's not paint. It's better.
They're very professional. We had everything done. Everything that would typically be painted on a house was done, and it was very fast.
All right, Indy, get the 25-year guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield right now for 15% off the regular price.
It was done in 2001 and still going strong. From what I've seen on our home, they can easily offer a 25-year guarantee and not worry about it.
Here's owner Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
Don't paint. Don't vinyl. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
What you've heard about probiotics is probably wrong.
I eat yogurt, so I don't need to take a probiotic.
Probiotics? They don't really work. It's time to learn the truth about probiotics from Align, the probiotic brand recommended by gastroenterologists 2 times more than any other probiotic brand. Align has probiotics to naturally help relieve occasional bloating, gas, and abdominal discomfort. Try Align for a month and see how great a healthy gut can feel at AlignProbiotics.com.
You asked, we toasted. That's right, breakfast bagels are back at McDonald's. Wake up with your favorite today, like the steak, egg, and cheese bagel. Freshly toasted and topped with a tender, juicy steak patty, a fluffy folded egg, melty American cheese, and grilled onions. Or enjoy other classic combinations like the sausage, egg, and cheese or bacon, egg, and cheese. When you're all finished, you'll be wishing it was morning, all over again. Breakfast hours only at participating McDonald's.
A story of first downs and second chances. Meet former pro football player Michael Robinson.
I wanted to keep playing, but my feet hurt.
And all those big league experts couldn't help?
You have access to anything, but none of it worked.
Finally, he got fitted with Good Feet arch supports.
Let me tell you something. They work.
Now, he recommends Good Feet to
anybody. If you move, go to the Good Feet store.
Sign up for your free fitting at goodfeet.com. The children's music and dance teacher who couldn't cha-cha.
I was always on my feet. It was just so painful.
Elisa couldn't let her students down, so she stepped up and went to the Good Feet store for personally fitted arch supports.
I would work an entire day, and my feet didn't hurt at the end of the day. That was when I knew, wow, these are different.
But the really good part?
It's good to be dancing together again.
Stop by or schedule your free fitting at goodfeet.com.
Come in for a free fitting, no appointment needed. The Good Feet store, in the north, near Keystone at the Crossing or in Greenwood.
All right, Dan Levy, what are we looking at?
Traffic conditions greatly improving. Just a few things to watch out for. A crash at the intersection of Cooper and 58th. Reportedly, that one does involve a pedestrian. 465 east side southbound, only a little bit tight from Washington to Shindley, not terrible. North side 465 eastbound, also in the breaks from Keystone into Allisonville. This report is sponsored by Donate Life Indiana. Say yes to being an organ donor when you renew your hunting license online. Learn more at donatelifeindiana.org. I'm Dan Levy. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
54 at the American Standard Heating Weather Center, Nige.
Yes.
3% of the vote in, per the Associated Press, with Secretary of State on the line. Diego Morales, the Republican, leading Democrat Destiny Wells 49.8 to 46.2, with Jeff Maurer, the Libertarian, getting 4%. But again, this is only 3% of the vote.
And we're going to keep you updated on local races. We're going to keep you updated nationwide. I think probably overall the Democrats, it'd be a good thing for them for a red wave. They can get Joe Biden out of there in 2024. And then they could blame the Republicans for the economy here the next couple of years, because it is going to be bad. Inflation is still going to be up. Even though they caused it, they're going to be able to blame Republicans for the bad economy going into the presidential election. I think they definitely want Joe Biden out. So speaking from a nationwide perspective, it might be good for the Democrats for a red wave.
Right.
They can get that old man out of the office because he's not very popular.
More numbers coming in. We're going to turn it over to our newsroom, Abdul and company. Keep it right here all through the night. 93 WIBC, the latest numbers, calls, results, national, local. We got you. It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Indianapolis. When you choose Medicare Advantage from United Healthcare, you're with a plan chosen by more people. Medicare Advantage plans from United Healthcare give you more for your Medicare dollar. Get great benefits like dental, vision, and hearing coverage and more. Call United Health